Good morning. How are you doing today, everybody? Welcome to Stock Markets with Bruce. It's Uncle Bruce here this morning. Welcome to Tuesday, April the 6th, 2021. Oh my gosh, already 6 days into April. Nice to have you here with me this morning from around the world. Nice to make your acquaintance. If you're new to this channel, I can't help you. No, I can help you. We like talking about stock markets in plain English. That's why I'm here. I'm trying to interpret what's happening in the big markets out there and try to bring it down into an easy understand kind of way. Easier said than done sometimes because it just gets more tricky every day, but we'll figure it out together. Here to update you on what's happening in the world, if that's possible, tell the odd story from time to time, react to your comments, and well, we'll just kind of take it day by day, right? Welcome all to this channel and this YouTuber. I'm 65 years old, sitting in Creston, British Columbia, Canada. Was a broker, stockbroker back in 1979 when I first started in the business. After taking the securities course, I actually graduated college as a watchmaker, repairing watches and clocks. That's my first actual formal job after school. But my background prior to that was retail sales in the music industry. My father owned a music store selling guitars, amplifiers, drums, and sheet music and everything else. And I grew up in that place. I started there when I was about 10 years old, and until I was 21, when I, quote, moved out of the house and moved to Calgary, Alberta with my Jennifer Aniston lookalike wife, who you never see on camera here, but trust me, we were out the other night at one of these, fancy, swanky premieres. You know how it is, being a YouTube personality that I am. I'm constantly being asked by the press and by organizations, would you mind coming out and help us with a fundraiser, or make an appearance? So the other night, Jennifer and I went out. Here we are. We're all decked up. I went casual. I thought, I don't have to wear a suit and tie for this. After all, it's just Creston. I mean, come on, a town of 5,000 people. But Jen, she couldn't help herself. She wanted to be all dolled up. And she's got all these dresses and, all this fancy clothes. And she just had to look her part. Now I understand that because she's got a reputation to maintain and a certain image that has to be, kept up. And I understand that. I know the other night, a few weeks ago, we were out and I wore the suit and tie. Here I was pretty happy getting away from the computer all day long and just getting out of the house. And so Jen and I went out on the town the other night, and once in a while you'll catch me with a suit and tie, but not very often. Usually you'll catch me looking like this. And just hanging out, having a good old time, and enjoying life. But anyway, Jennifer and I, we moved out to Calgary back in 77 after I graduated college. And I became a stockbroker by 79. I found that after a year or two of being a watch and clock guy, I wasn't making the kind of money that I saw other people making. And I thought, I was self-employed working out of our apartment. And it was kind of boring after a while when you're 23, 24 years of age, you kind of crave human contact. Talking about, what did you watch on television last night? Or what did you think of the ball game? Or whatever. And I found that I could do two things at the same time. I could get a lot of human interaction if I went into the investment business. And number two, I could make more money. And so I found that I enjoyed the markets and the excitement of the markets. And that at that time in 78, 79, Calgary, Alberta, Canada was one of the places you wanted to be if you were young and you wanted to be where the action was, because that was oil central. That is the Canadian oil and gas corporate headquarters. And that's where all the public companies came from that went public on the Alberta Exchange or to the Toronto Exchange. And Calgary was an up and coming place, and young town, young city. Many in my age group were moving in from all over Canada into Calgary. And it was pretty exciting to watch the city just explode and just really grow unbelievably. And was one of the only prairie towns, a prairie city in Canada that had a BMW dealership, a Benz dealership. I mean, the money was there. They had a Porsche dealership. They had all the other, of course, the other brands, obviously, but there were some high-end cars there. So it was Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, and Montreal is where you could buy high-end vehicles. And then slowly but surely, Edmonton came into the mix as well, because Edmonton is the city north of Calgary, about 180 miles, which is the oil. That's where the blue collar guys were. That's where the equipment was to drill oil wells, to build out pipelines, to refine the fuels, and turn money into oil. The money came from Calgary, the landmen and geologists and presidents and deal makers and all that, the lawyers and the auditors. But in Edmonton is where the muscle was to convert an idea and put the team together to now head out into the field, do your seismic work, and drill your wildcat wells and develop oil fields and build up oil storage facilities and get that raw material from the ground into the gas tank of your car or into the factories to power up their plants or create electricity or whatever you had to do with the product. And of course, plastics. It's all about plastics. You have to have petroleum to have plastics, and the world was addicted to that, obviously. And so it was an interesting time, and I'm not sure why I went down this path, but oh, it's my background. But I became a broker in '79, and I haven't looked back, although I've had many a career since. And like a lot of you out there who are my age or younger, you're probably finding out that, what I thought I was going to do for a living when I was a kid or when I was a university student and a graduate, where I thought I was going and where I ended up is nowhere close, nowhere near what I thought I was going to be when I first, got my engineering degree, or I got my master's degree, or whatever education you ended up getting. And you find out that as time goes by that, man, this world is changing so quickly that there were jobs popping up that were new careers that we hadn't heard of when we were in school. I remember when I was in high school, I don't know if you guys remember this when you were kids, but in our world, this is now 74, 75, 73. When I was in high school, I think once a year you had to go into the guidance counselor office to sit down with a guidance counselor to talk about your future. Do you guys remember this at all? Oh man, I tell you, back in the day, to me it was a chore, because, oh God, I got to sit there and listen to this person tell me about my future, and they have no idea what my present world is all about. And that's how disconnected we felt in some ways. Now I was a lucky guy, because I had a strong father and mother figure who were hardworking people, and each had a retail store, and they were really working hard, and they were providing for the family. And I saw my father make money. I was one of the luckiest kids in the world where I actually saw my dad make money. A lot of my buddies, they knew what their fathers did, but they never saw their fathers at work. They never saw their fathers in a professional relationship or having to answer to a boss or whatever their jobs were. Where in my case, I saw my father working, like hands-on, there, live. And on many, many occasions, I saw him earn a living in front of my eyes. And it's a whole different perspective. So when you go into the counselor's office, you're sitting there and, respectful that I am and polite that I am and shy, somewhat shy that I was in high school. The guidance counselor would would kind of lean in, and you felt like they were right on top of you, like I gotta make this work for you kids. I don't want you to be misled about what was really like in the 70s. Okay. So, the counselor would kind of lean in on you, and say, well, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? Do you have any plans? Do you have any, what is there a career that you'd like to be, part of? Have you always wanted to be something or somebody? And you're sitting there as a 15-year-old kid with, raging hormones, and you're just trying to survive. You're always checking yourself to make sure you don't smell too bad, and your pants are always too tight because you're growing an inch every 3 weeks, getting bigger and bigger and building out, and it's terribly uncomfortable. And you're asked to talk about yourself, and you're as if I know at the age of 15, I'm going to have a conversation with a 30 to 40-year-old well-meaning person. These were not bad people. They were fine people. They were career people who generally cared. I thought, kind of figured, they cared about the kids they were talking to. But even at 35, 40 years old, I'm in a different world than this person is. They have mortgage payments, they have car payments, they have children perhaps, and they've got responsibilities that I won't have for 20 years, 15 years. And they're trying to talk to me like they're trying to relate to me as a 15-year-old, 14-year-old, 15, 16-year-old kid. And it just wasn't working. And this is the era of Vietnam as well. So you had two kinds of counselors, maybe three kinds of counselors in those days. And again, you folks might go back in your memory banks and think about this. You had the 65-year-old counselor or the 55-year-old counselor who was counting the days until they retired with all the school benefits. You had the 35, 45-year-old who's in the thick of life, and they are under unbearable pressure from their families, and they've got social obligations and coworkers and their career aspirations. And maybe some of these folks just weren't reaching their career aspirations, and they're figuring it out that I've topped out and I'm not going any higher, and I've kind of reached this is it. If I'm staying with this school board system, this is as far as I'm going to get. I'm never going to be a principal. I'm never going to be. And then you had the other counselors who were like 25 to 30, who were the up and comers, and they were full of vim and vinegar. And you had the Vietnam War going on, and you had the protests going on. You had Nixon in the White House. And as a 15-year-old, you don't know all this stuff. You don't know the whole concept, the whole world around you yet. You haven't quite figured it out. You can relate to what's in front of you, but you aren't aware. And I wasn't thinking about talking to a counselor about what Nixon's policies were in Vietnam, or what the U.S.'s position was with vis-a-vis European and North American trade policies. And who cares? I'm 15 years old. My whole thing was this Friday night, I'm going roller skating with my buddies, and there's this cute girl that just, I can't wait to see her. If only she'd pay attention to me, because she doesn't even know I exist. It's unbelievable. Doesn't she know that someday I'm going to be a famous YouTuber and we could be pals? It never happened. And so you're in your world, they're in their world, and you're supposed to tell them what's your plan. And these folks are full-time guidance counselors, which means all they do is guidance counsel. That's all they do. They don't work for a living in the outside world at a day job. They don't know what my dad does. They can't relate to what my father does. They can't relate to what my mother does. They can't relate to how my family, my mom and dad, raised 3 children with 2 cars, a house, 2 businesses, and make it all work. And here's this individual sitting behind a little, metal desk, I guess it was, trying to talk to me about my future. And I'm just going, what a disconnect. I mean, you have no clue. If you were truly a guidance counselor, wouldn't you want to know me? Wouldn't you want to know my background? Wouldn't you want to know where I really come from and what I'm really exposed to and what I'm really surrounded by? But they don't have time. There's 30 kids in the class, and they've got to see, all the grade 9ers and the 10ers and the 11s and the 12s and the 13s once a year. There's no time. There's no time. And there might only be 4 counselors for, 1,600 students. How in the world can they possibly get into your thing? So what do you get? You get the pamphlets. You remember the pamphlets? your future career in whatever, and they would try to size you up, while you're sitting there, to try to size you up as to what you could become, what you could turn into someday. And they give you a pamphlet about this career or that career or this university or that university. And I'd walk out of there more confused than when I walked in. And for the rest of the day, talking to my buddies after they had their guidance counselor meeting, you kind of wonder, what was that? I don't know what to do with myself. I'm even more confused with what's going on. I don't know, kids. It was, I'm sure, I don't know, is it like that today? I don't know. Are guidance counselors even allowed to talk to you about your future or not. I don't even know how that works anymore with the different world that's out there. But I left high school, more or less left high school with no idea what I would do with myself. No one ever talked to me about the fact that, someday you could become a stockbroker. These guidance counselors, they had my report card on their desk when I'm sitting in front of them. They had it right there. I'm thinking, oh God, they see my grades for all these subjects, and I'm a lousy student. According to on the academia side, whatever that word is, on the academic area, he's a basket case. So I think these guys are looking at me going, "Oh, maybe you can be a welder, or maybe you can put fence posts in a field, something like that. Keep the cows from running away." I don't know. I don't think stockbroker. I had no idea what a stockbroker was. No idea what that was a thing called a stockbroker. And these folks, I don't think they even know what stockbrokers did. They certainly had no connection with downtown Toronto and Bay Street, which is only 65 miles away from our school, was Toronto, Ontario, the biggest city in the country, with Bay Street, which is the Wall Street of Canada. They had no connection to that. And how could anyone have looked at this thing as a 15-year-old and said, "Oh, someday you might become a stockbroker, and you'll help investors with their investments and help them figure out their lives"? Oh, are you kidding me? Oh gosh, there was no way. And even if a guidance counselor had the wherewithal, they had a crystal ball, or they went into a DeLorean with a flux capacitor, and they went to the future, and they found me. 9 years later, from age 15 to 24, 9 years later, they found me as a stockbroker, dealing with investors. And then come back in time and then try to talk to me about becoming that person. They would have looked at the report card and went, "You haven't got a hope in hell, buddy. You've got to have a university degree in economics. You've got to have a business degree of some kind. You can't even pass high school mathematics. What chance have you got of ever being useful to anyone in your future life?" And so I kind of chortle at it all, and I love the stories, and I don't know if you guys do, but I love the stories when you read about somebody, or you see them interviewed. Maybe I used to enjoy Larry King Live, for example. Once in a while, he would have an entrepreneur on there and talk about, how did you ever get started in this business, something like that. I love these. How did you become the muffler king of Chicago, or whatever, And they tell you the story, how they did it. And it was a fluke, or the chance meeting, or, an epiphany, whatever it is. And how you end up where you came from, there's no reality to it. And there's no guidance counselor anywhere that can put the two together. It's 1 in 100 that where they know. I know that I had kids in my classes in high school. There were the odd one, like maybe every third class I could point at one of the kids in class, and I say, "Well, that guy or that girl is the child of a very successful family. The father is a lawyer, the mother's medical professional," or whatever they were doing. And you could kind of tell that, oh yeah, that's a chip off the old block right there. That person right there is going to choose a path similar to one of their parents, and they're going to do just fine. And 1 in 100, you could figure that out. And then there were the rest of us. And I looked around, years later. I went back to a high school reunion, and I met maybe 20 or 30 of my former so-called schoolmates, and you were just blown away by what they were doing now. It was only 10 years after high school. What are you doing now? What are you doing now? And you're listening to what their careers are, and you're just blown away, going, "Wow, that didn't even exist in 1972 when we were in school together. That job just came up in the last 2 or 3 years that was created." And here I am as a stockbroker at my high school reunion. I was a stockbroker, and I was already entering into a partnership with another guy to create a firm, and I was just a whole different world that I couldn't believe the trajectory of my life, but I also took control of it, and I also grabbed it. And there were times where I had to ask myself, do you want to take a chance on this? Is this worth a risk or not? And I always answer to myself, what do you got to lose? I mean, really, think about it, buddy. When you were 15 years old, sitting in that guidance counselor's office, and he handed you a pamphlet about who knows what the heck it was, you're thinking, I have no idea what I'm doing this afternoon, let alone upon graduation of high school, which was still a couple of years out. Excuse me. And who else is going to take a chance on me except for me? Who else is going to take a chance on this guy other than the guy inside here? And at least I had the I don't know what it was. The right confidence was instilled in my body or into my soul from my parents, having watched them do stuff they never thought they would ever do in a career-wise move, you know. And I remember one day thinking about my mom and dad and looking up and down the street where I used to live as a kid, and I would look at each house, and I knew pretty well everybody, you know, in the neighborhood, more or less. And you could look at that house over there and go, well, the mom has, there's two kids living in this house, and it's a full-time mom with two children. And then the father is, working for an insurance company. And okay, there you are. That very traditional middle-class world. And then you look at the next house and go, oh, there's a buddy of mine. He lives in that house. He's a friend of mine. We ride bikes all the time together. And his dad's a printer, and his mom is the housewife. This is the way it was from the 40s, the 50s into the 60s. This is the 60s. And then, down the line, I went every house, and it's very traditional kind of father's working. Mom is looking after the home, looking after the kids, all this stuff. Very, very good. Middle class neighborhood all the way. Nobody had, in those days, for most families had one car, one vehicle. Maybe there was a second vehicle, but usually it was one vehicle. And when dad was gone, the car was gone. And mom was at the house. And when dad came home, the vehicle was back. And mom and dad, after having a bite to eat, they might go out to do whatever, and some grocery shopping or see a movie and come back. The kids, 2 weeks a year, take off for vacation, whatever it was. But up and down the street, it was a very traditional middle-class world. And then I looked at our house and I went, I thought, well, we're the outliers. We have two cars, one for mom and for dad, because they both have to go all over the place. And my mom had a retail store. My father had a retail store. My dad was a traveling salesman for a music company at the same time. He had two jobs. Actually, he had three jobs, maybe four. He was the music salesman. He had his own music store. He was the bookkeeper for my mother's business, and he helped my mother cut material in the basement for her fashions and stuff. And my mother, made dresses, imported material. So she's an importer, a manufacturer, a retail store operator, and a mother to three children. And I'm this kid in the middle of all this, helping dad all I can with the store, keeping the lawn cut in the summer and the driveway shoveled in the winter for two cars to come and go. Dad had to get out every morning to get to work. So the plow came by and dropped the 3-foot plow of berm of snow. I had to go out there and shovel it out of the way so dad could go. I had my job and my responsibilities, and my sisters had theirs, and my parents had theirs, and we were a busy family. And retail stores were open 6 days a week in those days. Monday to Saturday they were open, and then Sunday was the precious day off that my mother and father craved and lived for. And it was a very happy home. It was a very happy place, and a lot of fun, a lot of laughs. And how my parents kept it together, I didn't realize until I was much older just how the pressures that they were under and how it all came out. And here I was, this 14, 15-year-old, 16-year-old high school student with so grades, C's, B's, C's, and D's, just meandering through. Because to me, school was so regimented and so formal, and you either had to fit into this peg or you didn't fit in, because that's the way it was in those days. And I didn't fit in, and I was not from the neighborhood of all the other kids, with the father at work, the mother at home, and the kids doing their thing. I was in a madhouse of activity, but it was the greatest thing ever, because as I grew up and went forward in life, I realized taking a chance on oneself is the easiest bet you can ever make. Where friends of mine throughout all my life would come to a fork in the road and they would agonize over it. It would just kill them. And they just say, "Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I'm so lost." And I'd have a coffee with a friend of mine or a chat, and they would tell me their struggles, and I'm going to myself and thinking, you got problems. You've got path number one, which is a great path. You've got path number two, which is just as great. You can't lose either way you go. It's not like, oh, this is the right move and this is a disaster for me going forward, or I'll end up in the penthouse here and the outhouse over here if I take this. No, it's this. You're going to have a really nice life this way or a really nice life this way, and you'll always have little decisions to make every day anyway. What are you worried about? What is the problem here? I don't get it. I would try to help them by saying, well, what's the worst that can happen? I would reverse it on them. I would say, well, forget about the best. What's the worst thing can happen to you if you went down this road and failed, or you went down that road and failed? Could you not come back to the fork on the road and now take the other direction? Well, yeah, I guess I could do that. I said, well, don't you work hard? Well, yeah. Did you get good grades at school? Well, yeah. So you're capable of anything. You're capable of being you're capable of getting up in the morning and working hard, being on time. You learn, you adapt, you adjust. I don't understand what the problem is here. What's the wager? Where are the long odds of success? I don't see the long odds of success. If you're betting on yourself and you believe in yourself, is that true? But do you believe in yourself? There's that. If you do believe in yourself, or you can understand that you should believe in yourself, this is a no-brainer. And I would sometimes try to get people to turn around and go, don't think you're the lucky one that's going to get this job. You're not the lucky one to be able to join this organization. Turn it around. They're the lucky one that they got you to join their organization. What are you bringing to the table? What can you deliver to this organization they don't have right now, or they need more of, that will make them more successful? Think about what the value you bring to an entity, a partnership, or whatever it might be, rather than, oh, I just hope they take me. I hope they let me in. I'm such a loser. I'm just going, you got to be kidding me. Come on. I watched my mom and dad open up these stores. It's something, when you're a retailer or you're a YouTuber like this and you start something and you open it up and you get it all ready, and then you hit the button to begin this, or in my father's case, he unlocked the door to his music store and it was full of guitars and banjos and mandolins and harmonicas and trumpets and drum sets and amplifiers. There was a music store. You unlock the door, and now you go back behind the counter and you stand there and go, well, I sure hope somebody walks in. Because if nobody walks in, we don't sell anything. What will happen? Now that's taking a chance. I mean, you've put it all on the line up front. You've spent the money to build the store. You put the sign up there. You cleaned this place up. You put the counters in there. You got the cash register. You've got the receipts ready to write up for sales. I mean, your leap of faith, I mean, it's on the line, and you're now hoping they come on in, and let's see what happens. That is a leap of faith. A lot of people out there have easy decisions to make, but they don't realize how easy they are. But from those on the outside looking in, I guess it's easier. But my guidance counselors were looking at me going, I don't know about this kid. He's got C's and D's for his grades. not a snappy dresser. He doesn't talk much. He's kind of a quiet kid. What can this kid do with his life? What do you want to do with your life? And I did not want to yell, I want to rock. I wasn't that kid. I was just sitting there going, I have no idea what I'm going to be, but I do have an idea that I'll know it when I get there. When I see it, I'll know it, and I'll figure it out, and I'll go down the path that works best for me. But little did I know that in 1972 and 73, as a 15-year-old gangly kid, that I would ever do what I've ended up becoming and have done in my lifetime. Never. But every time I made a decision to go down a certain path, I went in there with open eyes, open mind, and willing to bring what I could bring to the table, adjust to whatever I had to adjust to. And I figured out that if you figure out who's who in the zoo in this organization, who does what in this entity, you'll figure out who the leaders are, who the followers are, who the pretenders are, and who doesn't want to be here, who would really rather be somewhere else. And you realize with every organization, it's the same damn thing. It's the same darn thing. There's those who are all in, and those who are just, they've maxed out and they've got nothing more to give, or they're just happy to be there, happy-go-lucky with no plan, and others who wouldn't care if they got fired that afternoon or could find a better gig somewhere else. They were out of here in a microsecond, no loyalty to the cause. You had to figure out in every organization exactly how does this place run, and then decide for yourself what's your involvement going to be into this entity. And that's what I did through my lifetime. Once I was no longer self-employed as a watchmaker, because at that point I was the top guy and the bottom guy all at the same time. But becoming the broker and now joining organizations of with 50 employees, you're looking around going, who runs this place and who does what, and who there's all this interpersonal stuff going on. Certain people are here because they owe favors to other people, or they're only here and they're only surviving because they've capitulated their independence to someone else who's kind of taken them under their wing to help them out, rightly or wrongly. I mean, the politics of it, the relations going on, the hanky-panky going on behind the scenes that was off the record. I mean, you figured out where it was at, and that if that didn't make you grow up in a hurry, I don't know what did. And you began to understand. I understand now. I now get it, how this organization operates and its strengths, its weaknesses, and everything else. And you had to decide and figure out, at least I found anyway, you had to figure out, Bruce, where do you fit inside this entity? Are you going to become one of the people that they count on, that they lean on? Because if you are, you're going to be taking on responsibilities within this entity. Do you want to handle that? Do you want to be part of that? The reputation that the firm has could be predicated on what you bring to the table. Do you want to be that person, or are you just going to be along for the ride and let these 10 people who run this company, the top 10, do all the heavy lifting, and you're just going to suck along behind them in the vortex and just kind of get a free ride for a while and make some money, and not take on the responsibility and not be counted on or not be asked to take on more? How do you want to handle this? And my attitude was always, I want to find out who runs the outfit, and I want to become indispensable. I want the ownership of this company, when they write down in their mind, when they figure out who runs this company and who can I not do without, who do I not want to lose at any cost, I want my name to be on that list as soon as humanly possible. Because I've seen good times and bad times, good economic years, bad economic years. And I've seen good people been let go because they are just not viewed by management as critical to the company's success. I've seen this happen in real life. And I thought, you got to be a top 10%er so that you are with the owner and ownership and management. They bring you, they don't let you out of their sight. They want you along because they are so dependent on what it is you bring to the table. And I tried to figure that out as quickly as possible whenever I got into a situation that I wanted to be a part of. And I quickly realized there were a lot of folks here who are just here for the ride, and they're just here for a check. And they're here today, gone later today. And they're not even here. They're physically here, but they're not emotionally here. They're not mentally here. And they're leaving all their skills to just waste because they're just not prepared to give. And that's life. Guidance counselors couldn't tell you that. No guidance counselor ever talked to me about becoming an indispensable part of an organization. Never. The only guy in high school, one guy in high school, I will point out, that made me feel like I was an indispensable part of a group was a gym teacher. a gym teacher who was also our volleyball coach. He was the coach of the men's or the boys, men's, our 17-year-old men volleyball team. And there's only 6 of us on the court at any one time. There's only 6 of us, and there's another 6 of us or 8 of us sitting on the bench. So there's 15 on the team. I think we had 20 guys try out for the team. 15 were going to make it. I made the cut, but I wasn't in the top 6 because I was the new guy. There were the guys on the court were the guys who came back for their 2nd or 3rd year. I'm the rookie. But there were about 2 or 3 rookies with me, and we were learning. And he made us feel, even the bencher like myself, the first year, indispensable part of the team, about how during practice, you, Bruce, are going to make these 6 guys, the starters, better. You have to help me make them better, because this team only goes as far as the best guys we've got. And I help me make them better. It makes you better. It makes you a top 6 guy, because next year and the year after, you are the experienced guy. You're one of those over there, and you've got to learn now how this works. You've got to take on this role. And do you want it? Have you got the chutzpah? Have you got the stuff? Is it there? And it was interesting. It was mental and it was physical, of course. And he was the only influence in high school where I saw the direct correlation between effort and teamwork and success. And our little volleyball team won the city championship that year. We best team out of 12 high schools, I guess. But that was a big deal. We hadn't won that thing in 10 years, and our little team became the city champions. But we were all looking up to this guy, going, that man right there is why we won. We all knew it. It wasn't, we know we had to play the game on the court, but without the leader and without that motivator, there was no way. There was just no way. And we had to, there were about 3 teams that were always better than us. We were always one of the 4th or 5th best team. We had to knock these top guys off, and they had coaches that were motivators. And it was a really interesting education at age 15, 16 to be part of that. And that was the beginning of, apart from my father's influence and my mother's influence, here was an outside influence outside the house where, wow, it's stuff that my mom and dad are showing me that they are doing on a day-to-day basis. Here's a guy at high school who's also showing me what this is about, but the only one. My math teacher, useless. Science teacher, useless. History, geography, social studies, all the others, they were just career teachers who couldn't wait to retire, couldn't wait. And they were sick of us. They had been doing this for so long. They had lost all the drive. They had lost all that passion. They had topped out, and they were just playing the string. And I thought, this is not fair. I need inspiration. I crave motivation. I didn't know it at the time. It was, again, years later that it occurred to me that, geez, you got ripped off. You didn't get the great motivators as your instructors. And I met so many people in further years who said to me, oh yeah, the best person that I ever got to know was my history teacher or my so-and-so teacher or a professor in school. And that person just lifted me to levels I never thought I could ever reach. And I didn't get that in high school, and I quasi got it in college to a degree, but it had to come from within, and that's where it came from. But thankfully, I had the parents, the mother and father figure that I could always go back to. And as I aged and got older, I realized, you lucky bugger, you weren't in a home on that little street I was talking about. You weren't in the house with where the dad went to work all day and the mom was at home, and the kids didn't talk to dad when dad came home because dad was tired now. And dad didn't share the career with the kids. The kids had no idea what dad really did. They knew the title of the job dad had, but they had no idea what dad actually did. Never watched father in action. Never got to see the father in a professional environment do what the father did for a living to bring the bacon home. I did. I saw my mother do it. I saw my father do it, and I was blown away. I couldn't believe the difference between these two people in the two settings that they had, the work setting and the home setting. And then I would see them in a setting, social settings, where on Sundays, it might be a husband and wife come over to the house to visit with my mom and dad for afternoon tea, or coffee and cake, and just shooting the breeze. And I would then see my mom and dad in a social setting, and how much they enjoyed that, and how they could just let their hair down and just be themselves with friends. And I could see that world. And as long as I sat in the corner and kept my yap shut, don't interfere with adult talk. Don't be the pest. Just be the polite young boy. I was happy to play that role because I was sucking this in. I was just absorbing this whole thing that my friends didn't get that. They didn't get the same experience at home. And I looked at this and I went, wow, this is pretty interesting. These two people that became my mother and father were really something. And having to come to Canada in 1952, as my father did, as an immigrant with nothing, couldn't speak the language. And then within 15 years to be this successful, and his wife coming over, and they had kids and a house and two businesses, and working 6 days a week and just giving it unbelievable. That was a gift for me, no question. I did have friends of mine who were also fortunate with parents that also had nothing when they arrived and built into something. Yes, you're out there. You guys are out there. You know what I'm talking about. But the guidance counselor, the 40-year-old guidance counselor at 72. Oh man, when you go into the guidance counselor's office and it's a guy with a brush cut, like a military brush cut, and you're coming in there with your hair down to here, and you're wearing a tie-dye shirt and blue jeans, and you're wearing the platform. You remember the platform shoes we used to have? We had the platform shoes on with the two different colors of leather, and you had the big belt buckle, and in my brain, I'm hearing music in my head because I'm so musical. I'm listening to Led Zeppelin in there. I got the Beatles going in there. I got CCR going in there. I got all the anti-war songs going in there, and I got this butch-looking, brush-cut Marine kind of guy telling me what I can do with my life, and I'm thinking, oh, what a disconnect! What a world I don't live in. Yeah, that was entertaining. How am I still alive? I don't know how I did it. Chris, good morning. Bruce Show to my little brother in Dublin, Ireland. Greetings to all in New York City, Long Island, New York. Welcome, Chris, to the show. Thanks for coming by. Thank you for listening to this old man talk about the old days, his youth and everything else. I don't know if I ever get you guys reflecting on your lives. I don't know if I do or not, but what a world in which we live. I just find that talking to more and more people as you get older, when you pass your 30s and 40s, you begin to realize how smart your mom and dad really were. You just don't realize it at the time, but later you get it. It just hits you, whether you're brought up with a single mother or with your dad only, or divorced parents or whatever. You realize how complicated their lives were at such a young age that they were experiencing these decisions. And you realize when you get older, oh yeah, not so simple, is it anymore? Oh, I get it now. Anyway, it's interesting how you can reflect. Anyway, welcome to the show this morning. I hope I haven't upset you too much or bored you too much with my ranting and raving. GameStop is 187.62 in the pre-market. It's up 67 cents. Not much going on. The good news about GameStop this morning, when I woke up this morning and I took a look at the pre-market, it wasn't down $25 a share. That was the good news this morning. I woke up and, the stock isn't down $25 a share. Yay! No crisis this morning. Fantastic. So that's a good sign. And it's nice to see the stock kind of where it was on Thursday last week. It's within a few dollars of where it closed at. This is now 2+ weeks, kind of in this sort of neighborhood in the upper 180s or so. Okay, it's settling in, no problem. The Dow is down 66 points on the pre-market. The S&P down 6 points, and NASDAQ down 3 points. So not a bad opening, or going to be a bad opening, considering where this market was yesterday at record highs on record volume on a surge of the market. So I'm not complaining. The news today, it's not big news, but I saw this story and I thought I would mention it today. There's a company called TOPPS Trading Cards. Those of you who are of my age, you know about the baseball card and sports card collectible craze that we had when we were kids. TOPPS, a trading card company, is going to become a public company through a SPAC. They are going to merge with a SPAC. The estimates are around 3-4 months that it'll take for the deal to go down. So it's going to be summertime before this deal is closed. But they're taking over a company called Mudrick Capital Acquisitions Corp. Mudrick, MUDS is the stock symbol. MUDS is the symbol for Mudrick Capital Corp. The stock was a SPAC that listed not too long ago, but I think back in February. It's barely gone public. Been trading between $9.70 and $10.40 a share as a SPAC. The stock's $10.83 this morning. It's up 93 cents. I'm not jumping up and down and telling people and letting you guys to say, oh, you should buy this, you should buy this. I'm saying I'm going to watch it for a while. You watch it for a while. I'm kind of guessing that in about a week or two from now, this news will get quiet again. It's not a gigantic deal. It's a $1.3 billion potential deal. The SPAC has 300-something million in the bank. But it doesn't sound to me like there's additional money going into this deal. It sounds only that the TOPPS is going into the SPAC, and that the SPAC, the money they've raised, will go into the TOPPS treasury upon completion of this deal. And so, okay, TOPPS will be funded with some, $300 million in cash. The chairman of TOPPS, the owner of TOPPS, is Michael Eisner, who, that name might ring a bell with you. Michael Eisner was for 20 years the CEO of Disney through like 1980s to the 90s to the 2000 range. And then he bought this company through an investment company he controls back in 2007. So it's been 15 years ago that he bought control of the TOPPS company, and he paid $385 million for the company at that time. The best days had been had by TOPPS already, because the company was in business in the 50s producing cards with bazooka bubblegum in them, that type of thing. They're the company that's famous for the Mickey Mantle rookie card and others. But the TOPPS company made some good money in about 1990, 91, 92, when the sports card craze took off. But then again, they got into tough times in the latter part of the 90s as the craze died off. And by the time Eisner bought this company for $385 million, he probably bought it at a fraction of what it was once worth, and has been solidifying it ever since. The company, TOPPS, has tried to find ways to survive the slowdowns. They've made deals, licensing deals with certain movie studios and others to produce more than just collector sports cards. They had sales last year of $567 million, which is nothing to sneeze at. It's a record year for the company since Eisner took it over. And they're now branching out into what they say are mobile apps that allow collectors to instantly value cards and collections and so on. They've also moved into what are known as the NFTs, these non-fungible tokens, this one-off artwork stuff. And they're now apparently into the gift card business in some sort of way. I've been trying to read up on them this morning. Very hard to find info on them. They're private. They don't have to reveal all their activities and affairs. But we'll know all about them in the next few weeks, because they're going to be part of this merged proposal, this proposal to merge, and we'll probably hear much more about the company from its last 20 years and prospects going forward. Sounds cool. Sounds neat. It's a name that a lot of you know, the TOPPS trading company. But as a SPAC investment, I don't know if it's a great opportunity or not. I honestly don't know. I want to see, and I want to know if there's additional Wall Street money coming into this, and why. I want to know, why would TOPPS need this kind of capital and more to become a much larger entity? This is what I'm curious about, because I don't know of a company with 500 million in sales, a mature company like TOPPS. It's been around a long, long time. They're obviously self-funding their affairs as it is, but what do they want to get into that would make them want to go public? and take advantage of this I think it's $321 million that's sitting in trust. What is it they have up their sleeve going forward longer term? So we'll see what's going on. The right guy, let's say the right named guy is leading the new company, Michael Eisner, but he is not 45 years old anymore. He's not the young Michael Eisner that transformed Disney company into what it became, because he did spearhead the acquisition of Capital Cities, which got Disney the ABC television network and ESPN, and a big move into sports. He's not that guy anymore. He's now into his 60s, pushing older to 70s. So his days of running this entity are limited to a degree. I mean, like I said, he's not 35, 40 years old. He's an older guy. Will he establish this company for a few more years and then step back completely and hand it off to others? What is the plan for this company going forward the next 5 or 10 years? But can the stock do something in the meantime? Maybe. The shares themselves, MUDS, they're sitting at 1081 a share right now, and they have traded some stock. But you got to wonder, in the long run, what will happen here on this deal? Is this going to be a serious licensing kind of company with all kinds of upside? Will they secure serious franchises? I don't know. There's a lot of potential for a company like this, but at this point, we're going to have to wait and see and really see what this deal brings us in the long run. So we'll watch it. You never know. Zophius, thank you for your donation. Love you, Uncle Bruce. Can you discuss the merger timeline for SVAC and Virgin Group, FAII, IPO? These, all of them except for IPOE, are in the next 4 weeks. That should pretty well be done. Within the month, I'm guessing now. I think it's been upwards of 2 months that most of them have announced their deals, and we're waiting for the 90-day period to fully have it go through. The IPOE is the only one of that list that could be done and traded as SoFi at any time. IPOE could become SoFi on the exchange this week or next week, at any moment. So as soon as I know and I hear, I will address that. The others, I'm expecting 3 to 5 weeks, mainly more like 5 weeks, not 3, more like 5, before they're fully completed all of their due diligence, all of their paperwork, all their filings, and all their notifications to the SEC to then start trading on the open market. So it's coming. The timeline is close, and every day a day closer, but there is no guarantee that they will be exactly 90 days. They could, one company could be done in 78 days and one could be done in 99 days. There is no rule and there is no law saying they must be listed on this day, period. There's none of that. It's subject to regulatory authority approval through authorities. They need SEC approvals. They need stock exchange approvals. They need logistics when it comes to the transfer agents they have and the legal teams. And yeah, it's paperwork. And we're in a pandemic. And there are states opening up in this pandemic, but there are others that are not wide open. And these entities are dealing with organizations that are maybe not running at 100% efficiency these days due to the pandemic, and so we have to let this play itself out. IPOE already has a short interest. John is saying, yeah, there's SPACs that have shorts. When SPACs go too high too fast before their deals are done, you'll attract short interest. But you'll also, though, find that once the deals are done, these newly created public companies now are very eager to promote themselves and expose to the world what they're about and what they're up to and what's going to happen. So do not be surprised that I start throwing you all kinds of news announcements on these SPACs as they start talking. Medicating Brucey Diamond Balls, love the stream, big guy, and appreciate everything, and thoughts on Marathon Digital. I don't know who Marathon Digital is, MARA. I have no idea Who are they? What do they do? Why are they doing what they're doing? Stocks at 56.70. Marathon Digital Holdings is the name of the company. What a range for the stock, as low as 38 cents, as high as 57.17. Something tells me if you buy it now, you're buying at the all-time high. Is that a good idea? I don't know about that. It's a NASDAQ listed company. And they seem to be a Bitcoin miner. Is that right? The digital asset technology company, which mines cryptocurrencies with a focus on the blockchain ecosystem and the generation of digital assets. It operates one mining facility in Quebec. Man, oh man, this is an area I don't touch with a 10-foot cattle prod, and I wouldn't be touching this stock. But that's just me, an old man, talking to you. I'm not into this game. I cannot help you here. I mean, this thing was dead in the water at 40 cents, 50 cents, 70 cents. It took a shot to $5 in what was that? Looks like August of last year. It took a shot to 420. Then it backed off to 190 again, 175, and then it took off again in November, December. And ever since November, December, it's gone from the 3 level to where it is now. And I'm looking at this going, wow, I would be a seller more than a buyer, but I don't know the entity, and I can't tell you whether this price is justified or not. I'm sure there are people on both sides of the market giving you their opinion, but as an outsider looking in, and I see a stock that's gone from pennies to $60 in less than a year, I ask myself, my God, would I be, if I had 10,000 shares back then, would I still have 10,000 shares today? The answer is unlikely. If I still had 1,000, that would be a miracle, because I would have sold 9,000 on the way up and long ago taken my money off the table and long ago taken profits, and now be sitting on hopefully free money. But what to tell you to do with it, I have no idea. Would I tell you to get in right now? No, I would not. Would not. But that's just me looking at a chart going, this is my initial reaction. Mara is a mining company for Bitcoin. They just reported results. It should go up, but who knows? They can mine more with the money from that 156 BTC. Yeah, Wolfgang, I tell you, I am not an expert in the crypto business, and most of you who follow me know that. You know that I'm not a crypto guy, and I can only give you a reaction to what I see happening with the market itself. And with my 40 plus years experience, I see a chart like that and I see results like that, and I go, wow, that's incredible, way to go. But what are the odds of this stock going from $60 a share to $600 a share in the next 6 months? And I say there's zero. That's my personal opinion. There's zero. But I've never seen a stock market like this before in all the years I've been around either. There's so much cash sloshing around. There was no such thing as a Bitcoin market when I was a broker back in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. So things have changed. But there is a law of supply and demand, and there's a law of gravity. And eventually gravity takes over and greed comes into effect. And I would not be a new investor and be the last guy into the party. I just would not be interested in being that guy. But that's this old man talking in his conservative way, I suppose. If you're young, you're looking at me going, man, he's so conservative. Yeah, he doesn't take risks. Well, I used to, and I've taken the risks, but now I'm 65 and I don't have to do that anymore. I'm not 25 anymore, and I don't have to make life decisions on the fly. But I will admit, it's easier looking back than it is sometimes looking forward. When you're 65 looking back, it's easy. When you're 25 looking forward, it's hard. And I've been there, done it. But I'll tell you right now, you'll make hard decisions at age 25, at age 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. You're going to keep making them. You're going to have to keep making them, because that's the way this world is. Anyway, Francis, hey, Bruce, quick question on managing positions. At what point do I start selling my winners and locking in profits? Do I just shave down or sell it all? Talking boomer stocks here, not GameStop. Well, again, it depends on what the investment is. If you're investing in a crypto miner and it's done incredibly well, you have no history to go back on, and you probably don't have other companies' histories to go back on because it's such a new phenomenon. So you're on your own in a way. And as I was just saying here a moment ago, I would be taking money off the table all the way up on this ride, and I would be getting all my money off the table. I would have no margin whatsoever. I'd be a cash holder only, and I would have, maybe a tenth of it left by now at these levels. Long would have cashed in. Now, this assumes, it's easy to say, oh, if you'd have bought it at $1 last year, you're doing great. Well, sure. But there are people who bought this stock at $20, at $30, at $40, and they're now sitting on a $60 stock or something like that. What do you do now? How do you play it? Well, what was your expectation going in? Was your expectation going in that if I make 50% profit on this deal, I'm a happy guy? And you've got your 50% profit, you're sitting on it right now. Well, are you going to follow through on your conviction, or have you changed your mind? Because changing your mind can either, do you well or do you badly. A lot of people who get off the path that they decided to get on blow it because the greed factor, or they lose sight of the reality of the situation. They forget where they're at. They forget where things are. My attitude is, if you take your money off the table, you've got more money to play with for another day, and you can now diversify your holdings. That's one. Number two, if you hold stock, unlike a Bitcoin miner, but you hold stock that is, let's say, of companies that are, let's say, mature and been around a while, now you've got an opportunity to say, well, am I in a position perhaps to start becoming an option writer against some of these positions? Is that my plan? Do I want to hold the stock I have in a number of these companies I own for the longer term, because I believe in the longer term corporate viability of these companies? So in the meantime, should I just write call options against this stuff and haul in revenue? Or am I up a nice percentage on my entire portfolio? Should I pare down ownership of this portfolio by 75%? Hold a quarter of all these shares, 25% I'll hold for good old, sentimental reasons, what have you. The rest of the cash, I am now going to diversify into additional holdings that are attractive to me over the next 2 to 5 or 10 years. Again, depending on your timing and what kind of return you want on your investment. What's your scenario? Do you need income? Do you need dividend income? Do you need, are you only interested in growth? Are you looking to diversify out of a certain sector of the economy? Maybe you're into tech stocks only, and it's now time to look into manufacturing, or you're into a certain area of tech, but you want to get into another area of growth. Maybe you want to get into chip stock manufacturing. Maybe you want to follow the automotive side of things. You want to follow distribution. You want to follow resources. What is it? Do you have a plan? If you don't have a plan, maybe an index fund is for you if you believe in the future of the index. If you're thinking about, I like what I hear about infrastructure. I like the idea that infrastructure could do well. Well, that's a bet on the overall economy in a way. And then you could certainly look at an ETF that follows either the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100 or the Dow 30. You could look at something like that. Or you buy a series of ETFs that cover various sectors. So you have 10% of your capital goes into, this area of the economy, 10% goes here, 10% goes here, 10% here. You really spread yourself out, and you sit back now and observe which of these 10 do the best, which of them do the worst, and then decide going forward every quarter or every 6 months or every 9 months or every year, any adjustments that need to be made, pluses or minuses, or just shifting money around, or adding a new position, dropping one of the 10 sectors or 2 of the 10 that you're not happy with, and moving into a new sector that has come up on the radar screen 6 months from now. You have a lot of options to make here, and there's no simple answer. As you've just understood me going over it, there is no one simple answer to give you. This is not a yes or no question from Congress, is it? It takes a little more thinking, and this is one of the reasons why when I do my one-on-one sessions on the weekends with a bunch of you, we get into this. We talk about the fact that it isn't such a yes or no scenario all the time. It's complicated, and it depends on your situation now versus what your situation could be in 5 or 10 years from now. And I try to open you up to that possibility to get you to think about your future and go, oh yeah, that's right. My life is going to change dramatically in the next so many years because of other factors that are out there that are going to affect me. This is why I do these one-on-ones, to help you figure out, where are you now? Where were you yesterday? And where will you be tomorrow? And how you want this to play out tomorrow. And any of you want to have these 1 hour sessions, hit me up with an email. You'll find my email address down below in the description, and say, Bruce, I'd like to have a one-on-one with you. I'll try to book you into the next available slot. And if I can find an earlier slot through a cancellation, I'll let you know if that's what you'd like, and we can go from there. Anyway, there you have it. I hope that helped. I'm not sure. Wolf, I don't know of crypto either, Bruce. However, if you had 156 times 60,000, how much more mining could you do? This is potential growth, their gains. I tell you, Wolfgang, like I say, I don't know this business. I don't know it. I'm not going to know it. I'll learn more about it as time goes on, obviously, but it's just not me. And something is going to trip this up. I don't know what. I don't know when. I don't know why, but something could trip something up. And I remember in 79, 80, it was a sure bet that if you put all your money into oil and gas stocks, that's where you had to put your money, because oil and gas had gone crazy since the 72 oil embargo, or the 74 oil embargo between the Middle East and the Western world. Gas went from 20 cents a gallon to $1.20 a gallon in no time. And the smart money was, you bought oil and gas stock because it was a license to print money. You just have to bring it out from down below and get it to the surface and refine it and make nothing but money. Well, that's not the same anymore. Here we are in 2021, and the oil and gas sector in Canada is on its knees, because oil, even though it's at 60 bucks a barrel, US, that's 72 Canadian dollars a barrel. That's a great price for oil. Yet Alberta, where they produce this stuff, the city of Calgary is in a recession still, and will be for years to come. Edmonton, a recession, will be for years to come, because things have changed. And one of the things that have changed is that we now are talking about a dream car for ourselves. Instead of the dream car being a BMW 735i in 1982 or whatever it was, today it's getting a Tesla Model S, or a Tesla Model Y, or a Tesla Model 3, or the Tesla Sports Coupe, all electric cars, or getting the new Audi electric car, the Porsche electric car. That's what we want now. That seems to be the thing people want to be into. And today, the hottest stocks to get into seem to be FANG/cryptocurrency, something related is where the action is. But will that be where the action is a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? Something might upset the apple cart. I don't know what it is. On crypto, could it be a government deciding to tax people who are going to trade crypto and treat it as a capital gain transaction every time you use the stuff? That's kind of draconian from a government point of view. I mean, I spend a $1 bill, $10 bill with a retailer. I don't have to worry about what I paid for this $10 bill to now sell, to use it to buy something. I have to pay a capital gain on this. It's just cash. With crypto, oh no, governments are now viewing crypto as a stock. You buy crypto when it was $52,000 and you use it when it's $58,000, you got a capital gains to declare, and it's all electronic and they can track it down to you. I mean, how good is this? Not good. Not in my opinion, that's not so good. But I'm old school. I don't know how everyone's going to react to this. We're open 185.46 on GameStop. The market is down 57 on the Dow. We're sitting on a roughly 6.7 point loss on the S&P and a 13-point loss on NASDAQ. Nothing to worry about here. So we got a little negative at the opening. The markets are up and running. Showing now in 9 minutes into the market, looking at GameStop 186.90 is the current price of the stock, down a nickel from yesterday's close. Volume 661,000, a complete opposite of yesterday morning. I mean, yesterday morning we were trading millions right off the bat. Everybody thought not everybody, but a lot of people were estimating the end is near for GameStop. The company the stock was 165 24 hours ago. And the thinking was, they're diluting themselves into the ground by offering, what was it? 3.5 million shares. That was the end of GameStop. A 3.5 million share issuance of stock would finish off that company, and every small investor, all those Reddit people out there, all those people that watch Uncle Bruce, they're going to pay the price of death because this stock is going to crash to $20 a share, because this company had the audacity to talk about the fact that they might possibly issue 3.5 million shares from their treasury for upwards of $1 billion. And this is the end of the company. Well, it didn't happen, did it? Welcome back. We're $21 higher at 186.57 right now. And I don't even know if the company raised the money. I don't know if they actually issued the stock yesterday to raise this cash. I hope they haven't. I hope they have not done it. I hope that they're sitting there with their gun in the holster, bullets are in the chamber, and they're ready to pull the pin whenever they want. But not down here. They certainly. I'm praying they didn't do it at 165. Please don't tell me you did that. I don't know. I won't know until the company does an official release, and we'll have to wait and see when this comes out. If any of you see the offer, the announcement, anyone notices that it's been announced, please let me know. I have not yet found it. I haven't seen it. I don't know if it's been done, but we'll see what happens when it is done. But I'm glad that they have definitely stepped up to the microphone to say, we are going to raise up to $1 billion by issuing 3.5 million shares. We are interested in doing that, and when they do it, and I'm not going to be upset if and when this happens. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to be actually happy that they'll have done it, because they'll have popped a bunch of cash into their cash register, which gives them a much stronger financial position to be in than they are now. I'm a happy guy. I do not see any filings anywhere on GameStop regarding the SEC, so it looks to me at this moment in time, I do not see evidence that the financing was completed. So they have not diluted their treasury with the 3.5 million shares. They have not sold the stock at these levels, but I could be wrong. Maybe they're partially done already. We don't know. We'll have to wait for the company to make a disclosure, and we'll see what's going on. All right. Speaking of disclosures, gotta say thank you to some new people who've joined us here. We've got a couple of new members, and I'm pleased to see that M. Donnie has become a new member of this channel. Thank you for joining us. Ruben also has joined this channel as a new member. Welcome to the two of you to the party. Nice to have you here. I hope you enjoy your emojis. Keep your eyes open for announcements from time to time from yours truly, when I will release occasional alerts that you should be aware of regarding the market or particular stocks, or from time to time, I will add a new stock to my favorite list that you may want to look into. Being a member, you'll get a heads up before the rest of the channel does, and you can make up your mind whether you want to take a look at that one or not. But thank you for joining the channel. I really appreciate it. This is fabulous. Eduardo, what are your thoughts on GTII short squeeze? I heard the company issued dividend to force the squeeze. Is this true? Price went from 10 cents to $4. Don't know anything about it. I don't know this company. I am not following everything, as it's impossible. Global Tech Industries looks like the name of the stock, if I've got the right one. GTII. I'm assuming this is it. Low of 12 cents, high of 4.55. Shares outstanding, 220 million shares. Short interest, I don't know if there is one. I can't make one out. The stock is an over-the-counter stock, which instantly scares me away from looking at it much further than this. I do not believe in talking to you folks about over-the-counter stocks, really. There's so many good quality companies listed that are on the big exchanges. the OTC market is the wild west, and you're taking your life in your hands when you play stocks of that nature. You've got limited exposure, limited due diligence, and it's just not the same. There are some cases, there are companies that are up and comers that will graduate off the pink sheets over the counter and get onto an exchange. In many cases, they're on the way down. They used to be listed and they're on the way out, and they're still being promoted here and there. And some people make money and a lot of people lose money. So I just avoid them, and that's all I can tell you. New member, thank you to Toby. Welcome, Toby. Toby Mandelson. Welcome to the channel, and thank you for joining in. Hope you enjoy the gang here. We like talking about all kinds of stuff. People are saying, what's TOPPS? What's TOPPS? TOPPS trading cards. When I was a child, you could go into your local corner store and you could buy a pack of baseball cards or hockey cards or other cards for a nickel or a dime a pack. And you'd open up this thing, and inside would be 5 or 6 cards of athletes, including a stick of bazooka gum. So for a nickel, you'd get a stick of gum, which you'd start chewing on right away. And depending on how old the package was, the gum was either soft or brittle, because the older the package, the drier the gum got. It was a pink stick of gum, sort of the size of a Band-Aid, maybe a little thicker, a little wider than a Band-Aid. And if you had a good buddy, if you had your best friend with you, your best friend would buy a pack of gum, buy a pack of cards, excuse me, open up the pack and split the gum in half and give you half, and you'd have half, and then you'd be looking at the cards together. And your buddy, if your buddy was a real buddy, would say, "Oh, I got him. I got 2 of these guys. Here, you can have these guys. I already have these 2 cards. So you can have them. Here's a Mickey Mantle card, and here's a Whitey Ford." No, he would never hand you the Mickey Mantle card. Even if he had 10, he had 20 now. But you would get a couple of cards from him that he didn't need. I had some friends of mine when I was about 9 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old. They were getting allowances of 25 cents a week. These kids were rich. They were getting 25 cents a week. I was getting like a dime. And I couldn't spend my money. I had to save it. Anyway, these kids were getting 25 cents. Some were getting 50 cents a week in allowance. And they would go into the corner store, and it was like the money would be handed to them on like a Saturday morning would be their allowance. So Saturday afternoon or Sunday, I'd be with my buddy going to the corner store, and I would just be along just to hang out with the guy. And the guy would buy 2 packs of trading cards, a bottle of pop, and like a chocolate bar. I mean, luxuries, absolute luxuries. And the kid knew that every week he would get another 25 or 50 cents. He also knew that Sunday afternoon, Grandma and Grandpa were coming over, and he knew that one of them would slip him 50 cents more. So the kid was rolling in cash, and he was a spender. He wasn't a saver. He was a spender. So we'd go into the store, and this would be, year after year of this stuff. So this kid would be spoiled rotten, always knowing he'd have money, always knowing he could buy whatever he wanted. And I'm like looking at this going, this is like the 3rd time I've ever been into this place. Look at all the stuff you can buy that is perfect for kids. And so he would buy a bunch of 3 or 4 packs of cards, and we would be outside and sitting on the parking curb or whatever, and he'd be opening them up, and he'd go, "Oh, I got these here. You can have these." And he'd hand them to me, and we'd leave together, and I'd leave with 10 trading cards that cost me nothing. I'm just by hanging out with this guy, and I'd have all these. These were hockey cards because we're in Canada, of course. So I would be collecting all of these hockey cards, week after week, month after month. And it got to the point that eventually I had like 500 hockey cards, because I would also trade for them as well. And never having bought a pack of cards. I never purchased a pack of cards ever. And the kid would get 3 packs. He'd have 3 of these sticks of gum. So the first pack he'd open up and he'd put the gum in his mouth. The second pack he'd open up, he'd just give me the gum. And I have a wad of this stuff. Then he'd open up the 3rd pack and he'd break it in half. He'd give me half and he'd have half. So we'd have 1.5 wads of bazooka gum in our mouths, which is a bubble gum. You can blow bubbles on it. and it tasted really good for about the first 5 minutes, and then it lost all of its flavor. And then he'd have like 20 cards or whatever it was, and he'd be going through them. I'd get half of them. He'd keep half of them. And then off we'd go on our bikes and we continue on our journey. Oh, my God. Those are the days. Well, TOPPS is going public. TOPPS is going public because they used to produce cards for baseball and hockey and football and basketball over the years, the decades. They were a candy company with Bazooka Gum and other candies, and they've evolved over the decades. And anyway, they're going public today. That's the story about TOPPS. Apparently, KW, you skipped my other comment. Are you mad at me, Uncle Bruce? KW, I can't keep up with the comments. If I missed it, I apologize. Just been trying to stay on top of what's happening here. Let me just double check something here. Let me take a look here, and I'll look at my the comments that came in. Here we go. Okay, KW. It wasn't that people thought it was the end of GameStop. Hang on, let me see if I can make this work. KW. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Okay, it wasn't that people thought it was the end of GameStop. People thought that offering the stock would kill the chance at a short squeeze. There you go. There's the thinking that you're letting them off the hook by letting them buy 3.5 million shares from the Treasury, and that would kill any hope of getting them on a short squeeze. When in reality, the short squeeze and the amount of shares that are out there on GameStop could be over 100 million shares that shouldn't be out there that are out there. This 3.5 million isn't solving anything. I think that's the point there. KW, good point on that one too. And let's see here, and just to make sure I'm not missing any other comments that came in this morning. Since I'm here, thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you for your 2 comments and donations. I appreciate that. And also Francisc, thank you. Medicating, I got your comment, and timing for Zorphius. Thank you, Zorphius. I got your comment. Very good. And that's the way I like you, Uncle Bruce. Thank you, Thomas, for your comment. Wally's World. Good morning, Bruce. I loved your shoe story yesterday. I had a good one I had a good one point me in that direction once. Best advice ever. So my question is this: how did you handle the bad days? Because I know you had them, 87 and 2008. Wolfgang, Walter's World. Great question, Wally's World. Thank you. And hang on a second. Wolfgang gave a speech to the moon to class, GameStop Apollo. And who else? This other comment? Chris, good morning, Bruce. Shout out to my little brother in Dublin, right on. And those are the comments. So, Wally, how did I handle 1987 and 2008? And thank you, Wally, for that donation. I really appreciate it. Well, in 1987, I'll tell you, 1987, that was the year. The market, that was the year in which the Dow Jones had the single greatest drop in one day in its entire history ever, worse than 1929. The market dropped 22% in one day in 1987. I was a broker at the time. Jennifer was a broker at the time. I had been the branch manager of my brokerage firm, and I was now the VP for the province, and was still a stockbroker for clientele. But in my mind, I was already getting ready to leave the business because a friend of mine, he and I were we had created a little company together, a little publishing concern, and we had chatted about trying to take this little company public by way of a stock offering going forward. And what we thought we would do is we would do some private placement financings first, seed round financing with relatives, friends, clients, associates, anyone that would be dumb enough to listen to us for a 10-minute pitch. But our thought was we would do this in 87 into 88 and beyond. And so my timing was I was expecting to leave the brokerage business at the end of 87, the end of December. And this was September of 87, if I recall, was when this crash took place. I can't remember the exact date, but let me just double check. There's here stock markets, market crash, 1987. And I'm just doing a Google thing. Black Monday, Wikipedia. Here we go. Black Monday, Wikipedia, October 19th, 1987. It was a Black Tuesday. Alrighty. And all the indices had a sharp decline that day. and the 8 markets declined between 20 and 29%, 3 markets between 30 and 39%, and 3 more by 40%. It was a global meltdown of epic proportions. It was really an ugly, ugly day. It was during the Reagan presidency, which surprised a lot of people to this day, that President Reagan was president when the market had the biggest crash in its history, because of all the news we've heard or all the talk we've heard since. But it was a rough one. Let's see here. The markets had been acting not too well prior to this, as in any event, but when the day came, it really got bad. I guess it was, here we go, Monday, Black Monday, the Dow fell 508 points, 22.6%. And the last 90 minutes of trading, it just kept on going down and down and down. There was no recovery. There were margin calls all over the place. And it required a whole bunch of response from banks, including the U.S. Treasury. They had to come around big time. It was October 19th. The Dow fell by 508 points, and the Federal Reserve provided market liquidity to meet unprecedented demands for credit, and the market began to recover in November 87. So this was the timing of it all. I was just reading this off of the internet, in my mind, I was gone by the end of the year. I was going to be gone, and my clients were going to be transferred over to Jennifer to continue on. She was going to stay in the business, and so I was naturally thinking in my mind that I would just shift my accounts over to Jennifer, and if she had any questions about client whatever, she could always talk to me whenever, and that would be a continual kind of a thing. And so the day came and went. No idea this would happen, but it did. And by November, the markets were rapidly recovering. And by November and then into December, the markets had come back quite a ways. And in the new year, the markets had recovered and went even higher. They went to a higher level because of the action of the Fed, how the Fed stepped in with liquidity to allay any concerns of a global meltdown, which was great. For me, I knew that I was leaving the business, and so I looked after my clients that day, that next week, that next month, and the month after. I took care of all their needs, and all my clients were stable. The accounts were stable, no issues with margin calls, none of that stuff. A number of my clients took advantage of the dip and bought the dip. I called them all up and said, this is a great opportunity to buy some really quality stocks here at unbelievable discounts. About a third of my clients took me up on the offer. A third said, I have no other money. And a third said, I'm not touching the market. I don't want anything to do with it. I'm just going to ride what I have and see where it goes. And so a third watched their market come back and then lament the fact that they never bought more when they could have. A third never believed in the market again because they saw this crash and they didn't believe the recovery, and eventually they got out of the market or whatever they ended up doing. And a third did very well for themselves. They picked up some stocks on these dips, and within 3-4 months, they were very happy customers with what had happened. And for me, at the end of the year, I left the brokerage business to go full-time with my business partner into a company that I had been creating with him, and we started doing private placements to raise cash for this little company that we were creating, that we had designs to take public a year or two later into the 89, 90, 91 timeframe. And so I went to my former clients and I told them what happened. I told them in January I'd left the firm and that Jennifer was handling their affairs and so on and so forth. And I approached them about my new business because I couldn't talk to them while I was a broker about what I was going to do because that would be a conflict of interest. And so I told them, I said, guys, this has been in the works now for about a year. And my business partner and I are very excited about the future. And here's what we want to do. And so we started issuing stock at 20 cents a share in a new company that we had created. And we issued stock at 20 cents a share. And the game plan that we had in mind is that we would do an IPO down the road someday at maybe $1 a share would be the ultimate kind of thinking. But we'll see how much we raise. So we raised a bunch of money at 20 cents a share. We did a second round of financing about 6 months later at 40 cents a share. And we now had to become a reporting issuer because we were going to have more than 50 shareholders. So we became a reporting issuer, which is just a filing. And we played it by the book, of course, knowing that we were going to become a public company. We raised money at 40 cents a share, and then we raised money again at 60 cents a share. And this took over about a year and a half, and we fully funded ourselves up with this capital in this new company, and we launched this little startup. And we then began to look at going public as a publicly traded company to try to do an offering at $1 a share. It took 2 years of hard work, but we were able to pull it off. And we ended up listing a little company on the Alberta Stock Exchange. I was the president. My buddy was VP. We were the top 2 executives, and we had some directors that we had join in. And we ultimately took the company public by about 1991. So it was from 87 until 1991, we went public and ran the company for a couple of years. And we found, though, that within about a year and a half of running our public company, that we had to move on. We really found that our business plan, which was solid, just wasn't going to work anymore because the changing the ground under our feet was changing dramatically, and we realized that our little publishing venture was not going to really make it inside of a public company. But we had a public company with shareholders in it, and a listed public company at that, in good standing. And so we were able to find an oil and gas group, because we were in oil and gas territory. We had a number of companies that wanted to go public that were private. One group was an oil and gas group that had a bunch of investors that had put a bunch of money into a bunch of oil and gas wells and oil deals, and they wanted to go public to raise additional capital through additional financings. And here we were with this corporation that just fit their needs, it fit our needs. It allowed my friend and I to vend our corporation into their corporation. And the company became an oil and gas company, and all of our shareholders are now shareholders in an oil and gas company in a hot oil and gas market. By this time, it was 1993, and the shares went higher, and they had a couple of good years to run along. And all of the investors that I put in back in 88, 89, and 90, and my partner with all of his friends, relatives, and everyone else, they all made money. Thank gosh. They all made money on the venture. Eventually, they all cashed in all right. And he and I were able to walk down the street together, down on the sidewalk in downtown Calgary, and nobody would throw tomatoes at us because we were those bums that lost money on a venture that we created back in 89, 90, 91. That's a short synopsis of how I survived 87. That's how I survived it. Just turned the page and kept going. That was the bottom line. The 2008 meltdown, that's another one that thankfully, I wasn't in the stock market business at the time, and I wasn't into real estate either. I was a renter of a condo in Palm Desert when the meltdown was happening, as began to happen. I had been a renter watching the run up with real estate. And then I noticed the overpricing of every piece of real estate in the Palm Springs, Palm Desert, Rancho Mirage Valley area. Los Angeles was going ridiculous with pricing. Canada was going ridiculous. All of the United States was ridiculous. And the ads on television to borrow money was just insanity, how much money you could borrow it so easily. No income verification. These ninja loans that were being offered, no income, no job, no due diligence, and yet you could buy a house. I couldn't believe it. I thought this won't last. I was right. It didn't last. But by the time the meltdown really took place, I had already returned to Canada by 2008 because my daughter had entered university by that time in Calgary. And so my wife and I, Jen and I, moved back to Canada. And then we watched the meltdown, take place, and it was unprecedented. It was absolutely unbelievable. And for us, we lucked out in a way because being in Calgary at that time in 07, 08, oil hit $140 a barrel. And in 2008, hit $140 a barrel, stayed there for like 5 months, and then it stayed at 100 to 110 a barrel for like 2 years. And Calgary was booming again, absolutely booming. And I helped a friend of mine out with a retail store to make a few bucks when I returned back up there. And I eventually created my own retail operation up there for a few years and tried to make a go of it doing that. Again, over the years, you don't realize how many careers you're going to have how many hats you're going to wear. You get into the brokerage business, you get into the offshore area, you get into retail, and then you end up doing this. You become a YouTuber. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So I draw on all my experience from all my lives that I've had to now be here in front of this camera to talk to you about whatever you want to cover. And I can go over, all these events and all these times and all of these traumatic moments in time that, affected so many people. I mean, who was not affected by the meltdown of 2008? I mean, if you are over 40 years of age, you were in your 20s when the 2007-8 thing happened. If you were over 25 years of age at that point and older, it affected you or people you knew, relatives, friends, parents, co-workers, you name it. It affected a lot of us. And it was an unbelievable time. But now, we've seen other things come and go. We survived 9/11. I mean, that was an event that was unbelievable. We survived that. It affected certain people in a direct, terrible way, and it affected many of us in another way. And and we still live with some of these after effects even now. Unbelievable how the world has how it keeps evolving and things keep happening. And we have to figure out ways to survive it. Now we're surviving a pandemic. I mean, who would have thought that the entire globe would suffer from a pandemic? I mean, are you kidding me? But we have, and we're trying to get through it. It's just amazing. Wolfgang, Bama Babe asked, what does it mean? VGAC issuing an unsecured promissory note in the amount of $5 million to VG acquisition sponsor. I'm not sure what that actually is. I haven't seen anything about this. I don't know what that actually means. VGAC. Let's see. VGAC, is that something new, or is this in a footnote somewhere? Let's see. I don't see any headlines on anything about this. There's nothing current, is it? Not that I'm aware of. There's no new news that's been issued here in the last few days, few weeks. So I'm not sure what we're dealing with here. I'm going to need more information. You may want to write me a private email and tell me the story about what you're asking me about, and I'll try to handle it with you. I don't know what you're referring to. Thank you, everybody, for being here and the comments. Appreciate it. What else is going on here? Let's take a look at the markets to see where we're at right now. The Dow is now only down 14 points. S&P is up 3, NASDAQ up 5. So we've turned the negative into a positive. It wasn't much of a negative opening for the Dow, which is good to see. GameStop 185.46 was as low today as, let's get a refresh on this. The low of GameStop 184.12. Now 186.90 apparently. So it is doing just fine. Down a nickel on the day. Volume 1.3 million. No worries. Over at AMC, down 30 cents today to 10.31 a share on AMC. High of the day 10.50, low 10.17. Volume 9.4 million. Much quieter than yesterday at this time for AMC as well. But it is negative. I know it reached yesterday about what, 11:30, 11:40, something like that. So it had a good run yesterday, but it has given up some ground and is not going very far at this point, down 30 cents, unfortunately. GameStop 186.22 at the moment, jumping about just under the break-even line, barely, with very little volume, not much to get excited about there. Other stocks I'm following that I mentioned to you, Vector Acquisition is down 6 cents to 10.97. Navsite Holdings down 2 cents at $10. Social Capital, which is IPOE, which will become SoFi, 16.60, down 12 cents, kind of hanging around, waiting for the merger to go through. Gore's Holdings up a nickel at 13.45. It was down a bit this morning to 13.15, got up to 13.59, now at 13.45. Virgin Acquisition Group unchanged at $10.18. Starboard Value down 2 pennies to 9.92. Fortress Value unchanged at 9.95. Nothing new there at this point. Vanik Vectors, the computer chip ETF fund that I like, it is down $1.75 to $255.40. It has had a pretty good month here. It was in the low 220 range, 225 range. It's now up $30 in the last month to this 255 neighborhood. Home Depot at $315 a share had a good month too. It had a lousy month from about February, maybe lousy 2 weeks from about February to early March, dropped from the 285 range down to the 200 and oh gosh, what was that? 250 range. Now from 250 to 315 from March to now. Very nice run for Home Depot. Solid company, solid earnings, increased dividend. Absolutely bang on. An absolute all-star, doing very well. IBM at 134.78, down $1.15. The stock was 119, 120 when I was first mentioning it as a pretty good buy. Now has gained a little bit there. The yield is still very high, close to 5%. Nice cash distributor, and the company is growing its value on a capital market cap basis. The Dow right now down 15.97 at the moment, very quiet there. Microsoft off 91 cents. Has had a good run here. Microsoft in the last 3 months was in as low as about $212 a share, now at $248. So that's a good move. Apple is now at 126.52, still not at its all-time high of 145, but I believe it will break its all-time high this year. This stock has more than $20 left in it, and I don't think it's going to stop at 145, 46. I think Apple this year could reach 150, 160 with the cash flows they have, the earnings, the power they're generating. Tesla, very much better looking than in the last little while. They were as low as 500 and about 60 odd dollars a share back in around March the 5th. Now at 689, almost $100 higher from that low. They had been, however, as high at this year of $900 a share, and so they are still down $210 from their all-time high, 690 versus 900, and so the stock has not yet recovered its entire run, but that was one spectacular move that Tesla had in the last 12 months. Bed Bath & Beyond down 10 cents to $28.55. Looks like a $30 barrier for that stock. BlackBerry, $9 a share, down 30 cents. Not looking great. On the cruise ship front, they defy gravity. Royal Caribbean, $90.30, up $1.15. Norwegian up 96 cents to $30.67, and Carnival up a dime to $28.21. Norwegian yesterday has proposed to the CDC that they would like to start sailing again July the 4th, approximately. They would like to impose rules that say all crew must be vaccinated and all passengers must be vaccinated a minimum of 2 weeks before the cruise for both vaccinations. So they must be fully vaccinated at least 2 weeks before they board the ship in order to get on the ship. They want to sail at about 60% occupancy. Most of Norwegian ships are very much balcony oriented. In other words, they're they're a newer fleet, and their ships are 80% to 85% of all their accommodations are in balcony rooms, and they would like to go out of the U.S. ports at a 60% vacancy rate, or occupancy rate, excuse me, and that would be all balconies, no inside rooms, no ocean view rooms. This means that everyone has access to fresh air on their cruise. If anyone gets ill, no one will be stuck in an inside room. If they're in a quarantine scenario, they would be stuck in their cabin, but with a deck, so you would have access to the outside air. You could look around. I mean, you won't feel as claustrophobic. The CDC has not reacted officially, but from everything I've sensed regarding the CDC and their game plan, I doubt very much that cruise lines will be allowed to sail in and out of United States ports
for the balance of this year. The reason is simple. There are too many case counts still coming up in the U.S. Daily infections are 50,000 to 70,000 people a day. It's got to be under 100 a day before the CDC opens everything back up. 100 a day for the country. Right now, it's 50 to 70,000 a day. It's still a pandemic. It's still a problem. States are wide open. You can't herd them. It's like herding cats. These states are all on their own, doing their own thing, and they're not following a national cohesive protocol. And unfortunately, the CDC is sitting back going, we cannot open up this country to outside travel from the rest of the planet in here or out of here, simply because this virus is still with us. It is still as bad as it's ever been. And even though we're getting vaccinations going like crazy, this is a good thing. The problem is the case counts are way too high. The death rate's still way too high. And I can't see how cruise lines will be allowed to sail until 2022. And I'm hoping that's the case. It's possible that if these case counts do not drop under 10,000 a day, we may find that there will be no cruising for all of 2022. It could be another year. There's nothing a governor can do to override the CDC or the federal government. You cannot override the U.S. Coast Guard or Homeland Security. Ron DeSantis in Florida might want cruising to start tomorrow, but he has no power when it comes to allowing cruise ships in and out of his state ports, because they're not state ports, they're federal ports, and he's powerless to do anything about it. Cry me a river, but you're not going to get anywhere with this. Unfortunately, the planet would love to go cruising. Many of us would love to go on a vacation to an all-inclusive resort. Many of us want to go travel freely all we want. But unfortunately, the disease is so prevalent yet, and so many variants are now appearing because we didn't snuff it out when we had the chance with a national, international lockdown last year in April, May, and June, and July. If back then the entire planet had not allowed any air travel, any interprovincial or interstate travel, shut it all down internationally, the virus could have been contained and we could have tried to snuff it down, but we didn't do that. And the virus has had a wonderful time to infect tens of millions of people and kill millions of others. And it runs rampant now and has now had time to mutate. It has now had time to mutate into other versions of the virus. And the worry, of course, at the CDC, the worry in Canada with the health authorities here, the worry with all the health authorities overseas, every country's health authorities, will all the viruses be able to be controlled by these vaccines, or will a variant be able to stay around and not be affected by a vaccine? Now we have another problem. It's a new disease all over again that we need a new vaccine for. Can one be invented in such a short time frame going forward? I don't know. I'm not optimistic in some ways. I'm hopeful in many, but I fear that too many jurisdictions in the world are not locked down secure enough to control it. And in the U.S., freedom reigns. In America, freedom reigns, and unfortunately, in some states, it's free to do what you want without any restriction. And some people believe strongly in that. And unfortunately, this invisible enemy that you can't smell, see, touch, feel, can enter a host without any symptoms for weeks and weeks and weeks. And people can be super spreaders, not knowing they are super spreaders. And next thing you know, certain people get affected by it very quickly, others do not. And the host may never feel the effects of the virus, even though they have it, and they don't get tested for it because they don't feel unwell. It is what it is, and unfortunately, too many people are showing up with this problem, and it's not good. Anyway, that's what it's at. Wolfgang, Norwegian is pushing for starting cruises this summer. As a person with a 206 semester credits, I see no reason why they can't. I already bought in. Well, I do. Dustin, you also can't override the Constitution, because the Constitution overrides diseases. It's the way That's the way some people see constitutions. Constitutions are all-knowing and all-powerful, and no disease can get anyone who's a constitutionalist. Okay, what can I say? I just hope you don't get it. I mean, what can I say? I hope none of you get ill. I really do. Nobody gets ill. No one gets sick. Everyone is healthy, and the world is a happy place, and we can stand around the campfire every night and sing Kumbaya. That would be fantastic. Unfortunately, there's evidence that all is not well, and what can I say? It's going to affect the economy. If it hasn't already, it's certainly going to affect cruise lines. They're not going to be sailing anytime soon, as far as I can tell you. But look, I hope it all just goes away. That would be great. GameStop 187, up a nickel. How about that? GameStop is up a nickel, having come through this 184 low, kind of chugging along down here. Let's see what happens. 1.5 million shares traded on GameStop. Thank you very much. Let's see what happens. And let's just kind of go from there. Let's talk stocks, please. Yes, let's do talk stock. That would be great. I hope you all are getting your shots. That's great. I know here in British Columbia, we are about, I think for Jen and I being 65, we're still about 10 days to 2 weeks away, but we are close, very close. They are now giving the shots to 70-year-olds, 80, 75s, 80, 85ers. They're coming down. They're coming down to us. And so we're just waiting it out, and we'll get our shots and hope that they are effective against every variant that we run into, and just hope that as we get our shots, others younger than us will get theirs, and this just permeates down through everyone in the next 3 months. We're hoping that the vast majority of Canadians and Americans and everywhere else are inoculated. And let's hope we see these counts drop off. That would be fabulous. Just, I want to travel so bad, you guys. I want to go. Gotta go. What can I say? Anyway, Josh, believe what you want. It's okay. It's all good, man. I have no problem. Whatever you want to believe in is fine with me. What a crowd in here. What a crowd, says Rodney Dangerfield, laughing out loud. What a crowd. Anyway, thank you, everybody. Let's see here. New York is 50% vaccinated, and that sure needed it. Michael, yes, science is wrong. The Constitution is right. There you go. I know 2 people who passed from COVID. Minimalizing the danger is just irresponsible. Just live life. Miles, sorry, it is a market indicator, though. Got my second shot Thursday. Right on. MUDs. Let's talk about MUDs. 38 and vaccinated in the USA, but I work around the elderly all the time. My second shot's coming up the end of April. My parents have both had both jabs without any side effects. They're both over 75. That's good news. That is good news, Pete. I'm glad to hear that. Ray, you're absolutely right. Stocks, any news about GameStop? What's your thoughts on the news lately about GameStop? Like what I see. I like it. I'm waiting for GameStop to release names of new directors. That's what I'm waiting for on GameStop. Let us know who has accepted an invitation to run, to become, to be nominated as a director of GameStop. 8 names. 8 names. I am really eager about that. That is, and so should you. You should be very eager to know who the 8 are that are going to be voted in, hopefully, as new directors of GameStop. We want to know that. That could change the perception of many, many people out there, would probably add a lot of credibility to the GameStop story. It'll take GameStop into a new level of respectability. And these shares, I don't think, will be in this neighborhood anymore. They could be much, much higher. Just knowing who these folks are and their reputations and who they work with, who they've worked with, what companies they've coming from. This is the big news all about this. Am I late for science denialism? Devin, don't even start with the sheep. Y'all tin hatters have a level of fear that can't even be backed up with logic. Wolfgang is getting into dumb bickering. It's not good. I can't imagine caring about other people's opinions. I can't imagine about that. COVID is like a stock market. Everyone has an opinion on what to do. There you go. Wolfgang, from the virus too, wearing a mask can save lives. Isolation can save lives. Let's all save lives. David, COVID cases up in Israel and they're mostly vaccinated. How does that happen? That's the question. That's the fear. That is the fear we have, that the vaccinations have taken place and the case counts go up. Why is that? What is going on? We don't want to hear that kind of talk. I'll tell you that right now. That is not what the market wants to hear either. We don't want to see evidence of that kind of stuff. Now we'll see what happens. What do you think about CRCT? What do I think about that? I have no idea what CRTC is. What is CRCT? Let's punch it in. 1999 Circuit Inc. is the name of the. It's not even Circuit. It's CRICUT. Is it Cricket Inc.? Is that what it is? It is a what is it? A NASDAQ stock, low of 1488, high of 2092 in the last 52 weeks, and I have no idea what they are. There's no information about who these guys are. No idea. Some kind of an IPO, something. No idea. Profile. Is there anything on there? There's not even anything on the profile. I can't even find anything about these guys, so I can't think anything about it. Sorry, I can't think anything about a company that isn't even gotten lose anything on it regarding the in the Market Watch website. So I can't tell you anything about it. Let's see. Here we go, Michael. I got a Johnson & Johnson shot and bought the stock while waiting. Logic says 98% is a good chance of survival. Forgetting the danger to the remainder of the population to the exclusion of COVID is what kills so many more than would have died otherwise. Let's see. Why aren't pro-lifers more concerned with everybody living? I accepted the invitation, but they didn't offer to me, says Colin. Michael says 8 names. That's what I'm waiting for. Hope they nominate Bruce as a director. Devin, fear-mongering, the 8-8. All kinds of comments coming in here today. People are pro and negative and positive and not positive and happy and not happy and all that good stuff. Welcome one and all to the show. Walter, when GameStop goes to the moon, could you please manage my money? But no investments in the US. I don't trust this market anymore. You're on your own, Walter. But if it goes to the moon, you can hire someone to manage your money for you. You're going to be that rich. You'll be able to hire somebody. Ryan Hensler. Ryan, thank you for this donation and that sticker. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that very much. Nice that you're here. What can I say? All kinds of comments coming in from all over. And Jen is here. Hi, Jen.
I see they're back digging up the street.
Oh, outside our house,
Yes.
They're digging up the street again. Oh, my gosh.
Lucky neighbors.
Our lucky neighbors. Well, hopefully they're getting to the problem. Our neighbors have a backhoe from the town of Creston digging up their part of their yard and part of the street, and there's some piping going in. We don't know what's going on. We're wondering if it's plumbing or if it's
Sure,
a
they're excited.
gas line. I'm sure they're excited. It's not in front of our house yet. Hopefully it won't be. Cross our fingers. Hope for the best.
We have another beautiful day.
We do. We have a gorgeous day in
Oh.
Creston today. Sunshine everywhere.
Brilliant sunshine.
We're going to hit, I think, 61 for the high today. I think that's our
think so.
expected high temperature. We're going to like that. Yeah, or 59, 60 for the high today. Tomorrow, 55 and raining. Thursday, 50 and raining. Friday, 52 and cloudy. Saturday, snow flurries. Low of 28,
Not
high
good.
of 46.
We're too low for the snow.
Yeah,
Snow's in the past.
That'll be up at the higher levels. That's right. Sunny on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, next week. Oh my gosh. Next week, Thursday, Creston, 68 degrees.
Woo-hoo.
The hottest day of 2021. We have not hit that since last
What's that
October.
in my temperature?
That would be about 17 Celsius,
Okay, there you go.
16, 17 Celsius, just below room temperature. Pretty nice.
I managed to forget Fahrenheit.
I forgot to mention, if you're out in sunshine at 68 degrees at this time of the year, you feel warm.
Yes.
The car will get hot if you leave it
Yes.
parked in a parking lot at 68.
The
for
cat
sure.
will track the sun across the lawn.
The cat will track the sun. We have a stray cat that hangs out with us, and it lives around our house here and always lies in the sunshine to warm itself up. That's what it does.
Are you ready for breakfast?
Oh,
Are you early?
I'm hungry.
I am early today.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
is it
But
time?
I'm thinking of a fried egg sandwich
Oh,
today.
Okay.
Yeah, with a slice of cheese
Okay.
on a bagel. Yeah,
No,
bagel.
no meat. Just
Nah,
okay.
no, just the fried egg with cheese on a bagel. I think that's the way to go
Okay.
today. With some ketchup, dip in ketchup, please.
Maybe hot sauce this morning.
No hot sauce. No hot sauce. No. Thank you. Just some ketchup, please. Thank you. Oh, Jen. She's such a teaser, you know. What can I say? The Dow is up 11 points. Hoorah! S&P up 6, NASDAQ up 21, oil up $1.83 to $60.48. GameStop 188.20 up $1.25 this morning. It's a little bit better. The high of the day 189.91, just below the 190 level. Volume 1.7 million shares on GameStop. So we're seeing GameStop a little better today. Certainly nothing like yesterday. Absolutely nothing whatsoever like yesterday. There's just no sell-off following through. Whatever sell-off happened yesterday got bought up by all these small investors out there who are just gobbling up this stock bit by bit, who are waiting for the coinization of this company. 189.25 is the stock price right now. We're approaching this territory of the new high of the day. We are getting stronger and a little better. It's not a big move, but it's up $2 and something cents a share. We'll see how what kind of momentum this can get. Hopefully the stock will break through 190 and maybe tickle 200 today. Wouldn't that be great if we could do that? Absolutely great. Ryan, thank you. Bruce, you say hi to my parents, Roger and Patty. They are here helping paint the house. Ryan, how did you suck mom and dad in to do that? Way to go, Ryan. Mom and dad, Roger and Patty, welcome to the telecast today. I'm glad you're helping him paint. Why? I don't know, but I get it. Maybe you lent him money on the house and you're trying to get your money out. I understand. Now I know. It's all good. It's all fine. Secret's good with me. Welcome, one and all. Wiggly Worm is here. Thank you. When does black fly season start? I think as soon as we hit 70 degrees. That's where it starts everywhere, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Welcome, everybody, to the channel today and the discussion as we continue to follow the world. GameStop, 190.79. It didn't tickle 190. It annihilated it like a hot knife through butter. The GameStop shares are 190.98. A nice little shot here, up $4 a share now. 1.9 million traded. The stock is on a move. 190.90 on the stock. Hit 191.86 just a moment ago. Looking great. 191 again, moving higher. So GameStop's got something going on. We like that. There's a good momentum here to the stock this morning. Like butter, says Michael. That's right, like butter. 191.38, up 4.43 a share, up to 191.71 again, coming on to another high, and maybe it'll go even higher. It doesn't look like there's much resistance at these levels, as this stock is picking up a little bit of steam right now. Thank you very much. AMC at 10.26, unfortunately still down 35 cents. AMC is not riding a wave of up move right now. It's still under pressure. 12.6 million traded. GameStop is definitely moving higher. The Dow is down 11, so funny how the Dow dropped and GameStop shot. Sometimes that's just how it works with this stock. It has its own, it's got its own world. It's in its own environment. And GameStop at 190.91 right now is higher, where the market is not necessarily sharing in the happiness. But GameStop has got a lot of things coming up that we have to follow, and the directorship is the one. The new directors, a couple of thousand shares. Share walls on level 2. A volume is getting MADD 200. Let's go here. 191 on the stock. Let's see what it wants to give us. A little lift off. That'd be kind of nice. Let's see. Come on, GameStop. So close to 100,000 again. Just hit $200. With a floor of 180 to 200 and a steady market cap around 13 to 15 billion. Do you think GameStop is guaranteed to be ranked in the Russell 1000 come May? That is interesting. That's certain numbers are undeniable, aren't they? Certain facts cannot be ignored. The GameStop shares now have had a bit of time in this range. The last time the shares were, way down, they were at $46 on February 22nd, 23rd. That's when they were down there. They've now, in the last month or so, have been in this, let's say a low range of 133 to as high as 290-ish. But between this 180, 200 range has not been uncommon lately. It's just not giving up ground to go back to, from all indications, it just is not going back to $50 a share. Not going to happen. If they do raise $1 billion, these shares, rise up here and kind of trickle up, and they begin to issue stock to raise $1 billion cash, added to the 600 million they've got, 1.6 million in the till for GameStop, with an 18% increase in sales from last March to this March, 5% gain from February to February last month. They're on their way to maybe a 9 billion to 10 billion in gross sales this year, of which 35 to 50% is online and more as they shift over. These shares aren't going to be down here. They're just not going to be down here anymore. This is a shift in the company's future, in its game plan. The directorship coming on board, changing everything. Yeah, but we have to hang in there in the meantime, don't we? We have to stick around and watch what's going on. Someone's saying here, Nikki's saying, it looks like moving day today. Looks like movie day. A bit of volume coming in. And let's see what's going on. Let's go here. Other comments. Let's go GameStop. Absolutely. Let's do the neat thing. Thank you, by the way, for popping by. 1,400 thumbs ups today. Thank you for that. Appreciate these thumbs ups. 75 on the downside, 1,400 on the upside. Thank you for all of those thumbs ups coming in. Appreciate that. We like to have a ratio as high as possible between the ups and the downs. So if you can throw a thumbs up our way, please do so. Help us out, grow the momentum of the show. Appreciate that. And also just being here, becoming members of this channel. I so appreciate that. Fantastic that so many of you have chosen to join us. I really appreciate it. We will continue to bring you alerts and updates as news comes out as best we can. Thank you, all of those of you who are reaching out to me for one-on-one consultations. I try to get back to you as quick as I can. Usually between now and the end of the day, you'll hear back from me with a proposal for a date and a time. Hopefully we can see you and work a time to get together with you, and we'll figure out what is happening in our worlds and in our lives and go from there. 190.15 right now on GameStop. That's where it's at this second. And U.S. job openings climbed to 7.4 million, higher than their pre-pandemic levels. More jobs available for American jobs than before the pandemic. Is that telling? Really telling. That's very good. And as I've said earlier, the future of employment is going to be so much different long term for many of you. A lot of you are unlikely to be returning to any kind of a cubicle job, if ever again. I can see where that even call center jobs and all kinds of professional jobs will stay remote or will become remote based. And for a lot of you, it's going to be exactly what the doctor ordered. It's going to be what you're going to have wanted. You had no idea that it would happen so quickly and so soon in your lives. We were all thinking in the next 10 years, the mobile and remote world would take over. We're a decade sooner than we've ever thought already, and technology is shifting, and software is being developed, and internet connectivity is being enhanced to make this a reality. It is fantastic. It is stunning, and I think that over the next year or two, there are going to be a lot of interesting stories coming out of a lot of people who are going to share how their lives have changed completely from what they used to do in their career 3-4 years ago to how they're handling their careers now and going forward in a completely different setting, remote locations, traveling the world. whether it's from an RV or whether you're traveling as a traveler. I think there are going to be global travelers traveling around the world, working for companies on either a personal level or a consulting basis or what have you, traveling the world at the same time. I just see it I can see a lot of singles and couples without children who are going to travel the planet for 2 years and be remote workers at the same time, doing both and absorbing cultures that they would never had a chance to absorb in the way they're going to be able to do it, because they're going to have the time to spend maybe an entire year in Europe or in Africa or in Asia or other areas around the planet, South America and everywhere else. And I see the possibility of a lot of North Americans getting to see North America for the first time in a detailed way over many, many months, rather than a quick 2-week vacation here, a 1-week vacation over there, a 1-week all-inclusive getaway to Dominican Republic kind of thing. I can see where travelers were going to go. We're going to spend a month in the Cayman Islands. Then we're going to spend a month in Dominican Republic. We'll spend a month in Barbados. We have these visas that allow us a minimum of a month, if not up to 90 days. And we're going to rent an Airbnb for 3 months or a furnished apartment for 3 months. And we're going to be locals for a while. And then we're going to pack up and head to Trinidad and Tobago, or we're going to pack up and head to Central America. St. Lucia, St. Kitts, Jen is thinking too. Ketchup, see?
Ketchup deserves its own bowl.
That's right. And the bagel for a dip. This is a dipping bowl. That's right.
King of condiments. I'll get you some napkins.
Well, thank you, Jen. Thank you. Toby, thank you for this donation. What form of SEC compliance do you see in all the hedge funds' short behavior? Can state institutions become an obstacle to the normally inevitable squeeze? I don't see how the SEC is going to interfere with market flow. I don't see that. I can see where the SEC wants to know who's doing what. That I can understand. Certainly from an angle of, say, you have, let's say, all kinds of activity going on a stock, and you have to have institutions reveal, their activity levels. That I see being more. I haven't got a problem with that. I've always wanted more transparency, especially on the short side of the equation. I would like to know which institutions are short all stock, not just GameStop, but all shares that trade. Why is it that a pension fund or a hedge fund must declare and reveal their ownership of any stock they own, but they don't have to reveal any stock that they're short? I have never seen an argument and a reasoning that makes sense to me on that ruling. I don't know why it isn't mandatory for institutions to declare short positions. I can't find. Does anyone know? I don't see a reason for it. It should be transparent. If it were transparent right now, who is short what, that would help us, I think, a lot with regards to GameStop in this particular case. Why is it that the stock can trade some days 40, 50, 60 million shares a day like there's no tomorrow? It can just trade that many, even though there's only 70 million in existence. How can that be? Well, there's only one answer. There's a lot of stock out there. There's a ton of stock out there, but we don't know who's short this stuff. Someone's short. Somebody is short stock. There are definitely clearing firms that are short paper. There are definitely brokerage houses that owe stock to the clearing houses. We don't know which clients these represent. This should be declared. I totally agree with it. I would like to see the kind of the declaration that the European Union insists on, where I think if you are short, is it 0.5% of the free float of a company, you have to declare a short position? I say go all the way. If a pension fund has to declare that they even own 100 shares of Apple long, I think they should declare, even if they're short 100 shares of Apple, short, they should declare that. This is not hard to do. This is not difficult to do. Everybody knows their positions. Everybody knows what they are. They're on their computer systems. They need only to enter their entire portfolio into an SEC filing and hit the button, and it gets sent in. It is then available for the public to see, for all to see, including the publicly traded company, including the exchanges, and including all brokerage firms and all other investors. That to me is a transparency. That is full transparency, and I want to have it. I would like to have it. Call me a big government guy if you must, but I think it would be fairer that we all got to see a transparent revelation of what's going on out there. Just my opinion. Like it, don't like it, let me know. Anyway, thank you guys. Welcome. It's bagel time. I got my bagel. I got some ketchup on here. I'm ready to go. We're at 189.23, so just under 190. What's going to happen with the stock today? What's going on? Virgin Islands sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound pretty nice? Yes, let's go for a global trip. Let's travel the world globally and do what we do anywhere we want around the world. Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't that be cool? Oh yeah, nice. Are they resignations? Really? Or are they more like you can resign, or if you don't resign, we'll just fire you. So what would you like? Maybe if you resign, you'll walk away with benefits. If you get fired, you won't. Maybe that's the deal. Eat, Papa, eat. Resignations. Yes, that's the key word. Were those really resignations? Really? Yeah. You're better off resigning rather than being forced out. Yeah, definitely. Oh, man. Just like how Renzo resigned from GameStop. Did GameStop need money to have the directors resign? I don't think so. As a director, you are renominated every year. You are brought back at the pleasure of the shareholders every year. You don't get a 10-year contract as a director. Usually it's annual. Usually it's an annual thing. There are some public companies that do have a 3-year turnover. You get nominated to the board, you're good for 3 years, and you have 1/3 of the board every year that gets re-nominated or changed over. So if you got 15 of them, every year 5 directors are up for, either to be renominated or a couple have resigned, and we've got two newbies plus 3 of the others, that type of thing. That's not unusual.
You break into a Tom Jones song.
What's that?
You break into a Tom Jones song. It's not unusual.
Jen is thinking I should start singing the Tom Jones song. It's not unusual.
We only do 8 words.
You only do 8 words or 8 seconds. Otherwise, you violate copyright. Oh, my. Oh, my. $2 million volume. Not much going on this day today. So here's a question for you guys. Last night, I was doing my live show on Traveling with Bruce, which I do Monday nights. I have a sponsor show at 7 o'clock, and then I have the big show at 8 o'clock, which is open to all. And on the sponsor show, somebody brought up food, which can happen. And since I'm eating, I thought I would ask you guys this skill testing question, and maybe you could share with me and share with each other. When you went to college, what kind of food were you eating that you would prepare at home or at your dorm? What kind of food were you eating during your college years that you still eat today? Think about that. Now, I'll start this off. I remember in college, I used to be away from home on Monday to Friday. I would go from Kitchener, Ontario to Toronto, 60 odd miles. And I would come back on the Friday night. So from Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I have 4 nights where I had to prepare my own dinner. Now, at breakfast, I would eat at the cafeteria. Lunch at the cafeteria. But dinner, I would make my own supper. And I was curious, what did you guys used to make in your dorm that you still eat today? The thing that I still do, rarely, but occasionally, is I used to buy the Campbell's chicken noodle soup, for example, and I would buy a package of hot dogs. And I would have 12 hot dogs in a package. I'd have the cans of soup. I'd have like one day a can of chicken noodle, and maybe another day I'd have like a vegetable beef. And what I would do is I would boil up the chicken noodle soup in a pot, and I would throw in 3 hot dogs because I had 3 hot dogs a night for the week. Because I only had 12 for the week, you see. And so 3 hot dogs would go into the soup, and that would warm it all up. And I would eat that as my dinner, have the soup in a bowl, and have the dogs on a plate with some mustard. And then for dessert, of course, since I was on my own, I could eat whatever I wanted. So for dessert, I would buy this rolled up chocolate cake that if you rolled it up, it would have whipping cream in the middle of it. So it would be like a spiral. If you looked at the side of it, you'd see the spiraling chocolate and the whipping cream coming all the way out. I'd buy a package of that, and I would cut that into quarters. And I would have 1/4 of it on Monday, 1/4 on Tuesday, 1/4 on, so on. Because Friday night I was eating at home until Sunday night, and then Monday back at school. And that's what I used to do for way back when. I don't eat this chocolate roll stuff anymore, but I still occasionally to this day, when I'm kind of hungry and not sure what to have, I'll grab a can of chicken noodle soup from Campbell's, crack it open, pour it into a pot, boil it up, grab some hot dogs, throw them in there, cook them up at the same time, and eat that as a meal to remind me of the college days. What did you guys used to eat in your college days? And can you believe you're still alive to enjoy life today? Kind of curious about that. Let's see if anybody responds to this. Julian Sheets, oatmeal. I used to eat oatmeal, man. Oatmeal. New member here. A little hard. Welcome to the show and to the group, guy. Thank you for popping in here and joining us. What did you used to eat when you went to school, to college, when you were away from home and you had to do it yourself? What was it? Oh, my. Excuse me. Let me see. I'm just looking here for some comments here. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. I got Tom Jones on my head. Thanks a lot, Bruce. I got Tom Jones on my head now. It's not unusual to be lived. Oh my gosh. Ramen and fried rice. Noodles. I love noodles. Burger King. I used to have Burger King at school. Boxed mac and cheese and grilled tortillas. Oh yeah. Ramen. Easy, uncle. Easy ramen. I didn't get to go to college. I had to work. Chicken Parmigiana. Kraft mac and cheese. I still have it as a quick meal even now. Yep, same here. Although I didn't have Kraft and cheese in college. Didn't make it. Far too complicated. Pizza. Top ramen. Oh, and the beefy 5-layer burritos from Taco Bell. Yes. I remember I used to buy the cans of, I'd occasionally buy the cans of Campbell's Chunky Soup. Used to get the Campbell's Chunky Soup, and it would get the chicken, or I would buy the ones, I don't know if you ever had those in the States, but they had the round little like call them little sirloins. They were miniature burgers is what they were. They're about an inch in diameter. It looked like mini hamburgers. And they were made just from hamburger meat or whatever it was, but inside this vegetable chunky soup with some bread. I used to eat that up all the time, a can at a time of that stuff. Oven pizza and nuggets. Let's see. It's not unusual to eat bagels all the time. It's not unusual to watch stocks go up and down. You never know about a short position. Will they be bought in? I don't know. I can't figure out how to tag this mobile YouTube. Open-faced grilled cheese in a toaster. Oh man, spaghetti. I used to buy Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs. I used to buy spaghetti and meatballs in a can. Yeah. Beef-a-roni. Oh man. College was fast food. Ramen, sausage dogs, and baked potatoes. Totino's party pizza. Oatmeal. $189.60 on the stock. We did touch $190. I did not know this. Bruce, you barbarian. I eat a lot of mushrooms. Someone said tomato soup added to macaroni noodles. Add some butter, and it's really good. How about that? Oh, man. It was called a Swiss roll. That's right. That chocolate with whipping cream was a Swiss roll. Yeah. Oh, man. I would live for a week on $40. $40. That's how I got by. $40 and $20 went to my landlady for the room that I rented, which included a bathroom, which included a kitchenette area where you had a fridge and a stove, and I had my own pot, and I had my own fork and knife and plate, spoon, and a glass, I suppose. And I used to buy pop in the big bottles, and I would have on Mondays I would go grocery shopping. So I'd come into school on Mondays, go to school, and then after school go to the grocery store, and I would buy my weekly rations for dinner every night. The dinner for the week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That was the first full year of school. No microwave. There was no microwave yet. So it was just a stove, oven, fridge. Figure it out. And I would buy food for the week, going, okay, tonight I'm going to have this. Tuesday I'm going to have that. Wednesday I'm going to have that. Thursday I'm going to have that. Got a package of hot dogs, 3 per night. Okay, that would do that. And then a dessert item. And of course, being on your own, you can pick whatever you want, but it had to fit the budget. Oh man. Gosh. Oh man, baked bean and cheese toasty presto pizza, condensed chicken soup with vegetable on rice. Oh man, soup with hot dogs too. Yep, soup with the hot dogs. Good eating. Oh, the protein, the salt. Yep, the future leaders of tomorrow eating fine food in college. Swiss rolls, yeah. Apparently, I missed a super chat. Let me double check. Can't find it, Iliard. I can't find it. Where did you send it? KW McCabe. You skipped my other comment. Are you mad at me, Uncle Bruce? Wasn't people ordaining the suit under office stuff be a chance at a short squeeze? Oh, that's I've talked about this already. Not sure where these comments are apparently coming from. I'm missing. I don't see these missed comments that you're telling me about. I'm trying so hard. I try to read all the comments. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Got them. Okay, I got some now. Hang on. Some more come in. All right. Okay, hang on. Today, a little hard. Today, the number of borrowable shares spiked to 800,000 and no one is borrowing. What's your take on this? That's a good take. If theoretically shares are available and no one's borrowing, that means that they're giving up trying to short this stuff. And if they're giving up borrowing, they're getting out. And if they're getting out, that means it's going higher. Julian says oatmeal is what I ate. And then Chris Slavin, whatever dog food they were pumping out on a daily basis out of our university cafeteria, where did my tuition go? Yeah. You weren't getting Swiss rolls in your cafeteria? Is that what you're saying? Oh, man. Uncle Bruce is the MacGyver of prepared foods. Oatmeal cream pies. Oh, my gosh. Basic ding-dongs. I lived at home like a loser. Ramen. Spaghetti was the king of all easy meals. Peanut butter and honey sandwiches, ramen in hot dog buns. Maybe that was just the munchies more than a tight pocketbook. Bruce is just describing a Swiss cake roll. Next, he's going to tell us about the interesting flat piece of bread with some kind of red sauce and cheese on top. Eggs and oatmeal every morning. Peanut butter sandwiches, no jelly. Instant noodles with hot dogs. That's my style. Not anymore. I'm not eating that anymore. Ramen with a couple of scrambled eggs thrown in. There you go. Oh, man. Ramen with hot dogs in it. Peanut butter toast all day. Breakfast, dinner, all the time. Little Caesar's pizza. Let's go here. Peanut butter Sammy's, no jelly. Ramen was the way. Instant noodles drowning in Frank's hot sauce with a pack of free cafeteria crackers. Macaroni, Kraft mac and cheese. Hey there, Bruce. Hey, Vicky, how you doing? Oh man. Dummies in the dorm started a fire in their microwave trying to cook ramen noodles with vodka. Ramen with hot dogs. I commuted, so I did not suffer. Oh man. We covered this one right here. Very good. Oh my gosh. Ashley, I still preferred my burn to eat versus my buds. Ramen with minced meat and hot sauce. Oh my gosh. What we ate when we were kids. Oh my goodness. Oh man. Back to making me hungry. Waffles. Coffee. Cigarettes. Krispy Kreme donuts. I kicked the cigarettes and the donuts. I miss donuts. Oh yeah. Campbell's Chunky Soup was great. In college, it was great. A whole meal in a can. So good. Oh man, the food we ate in college. Rice and honey mustard beans. Oh, I love those hamburgers. The little tiny hamburgers in the Campbell's Chunky Soup. I love those little things. Yeah, they were tasty. Little mini hamburgers inside your entire soup. They don't make it anymore. Here we are watching a show about stocks, talking about how poor college was, laughing out loud. You don't know where you're going until you know where you've come from. That's the bottom line, kids. You lose money in the market today, so what? I can survive on soup and hot dogs. Don't be telling me, oh, you're going to lose everything. Oh, you poor bugger. Yeah, right, whatever. I survived college. I can survive anything. That is the deal here. Volkswagen is pushing up flying cars. Chris, whatever dog food they were pumping out, that's what I had at university. Liquid bread got me through a lot. The bubbly kind, the bread that made you burp. I know which one you're talking about. Oh my gosh, I'm hungry now, says Jake. I'm hungry. Oh man, oh man. What did you think? What do you think of Microvision stock, MVIS? I don't know anything about it. No idea who this is. Beanie Weenies ravioli in a can. I just ate dry flour, man. I just ate dry flour. Add a hot dog, Bruce. Oh, hot dog with baked beans. Oh yeah, hot dogs and beans. Oh, the second day bread store, laugh out loud. I'm eating my bagel with eggs and cheese too. Scrambled eggs with cream cheese. It was like kegs and eggs in a frat houses. Pumpkin rolls are better. Spicy chicken from Carl's Jr., $1.35. I haven't eaten in a day, laugh out loud. I'm currently making grits. It takes a whole hour, basically. Gosh darn it. Hungry for noodles now. 3 liter of Shasta. Grits are awesome. Bruce smokes pot confirmed. No, he doesn't. Moon, I had my own pot for $20 a week, laughing out loud. Y'all making me hungry, so I guess it's early lunchtime now. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Canned soup and a hot dog. That was the secret to college life. Absolutely. The secret to getting by in college was being able to take a can of soup and put some hot dogs in there. And that was it. You beefed it, you bulked it up with some protein. Oh my gosh. All right, let me see some more comments here. What do we got? David, struggle meals with Bruce. Thank you guys. Wally's World. Hey buddy, how you doing here? Uncle Bruce, can you comment how shareholders vote for GameStop board members and how it could be so important to coordinate our registration with our brokers? Think that DFV's 500 game 26 in the money calls at April 16th. Well, you will be notified through your brokerage firm, I'm sure, about the annual meeting. Now, depending on the kind of account you have, I'm not exactly sure this works everywhere. I know that in Canada, it used to be that the brokerage firms would receive all these mailouts from these public companies, and then they would ensure to get it to you. Nowadays, it's all electronic, and I'm assuming that you may have a form or a one page when you opened up your account. There may have been some kind of a question asked of you by your brokerage firm whether or not you would like to receive information from the public companies that you own stock in, and you can opt out or opt in, I'm assuming. This should include the annual meeting of any company, including GameStop. What the company would be doing and should be doing would be issuing you a copy of the annual report and a copy of the document for the annual meeting. I'm trying to remember the name of the damn thing. Can't right now. But it is a declaration of all votes to be held on the day of the annual meeting for nominating and approving the auditor of the company, the directors of the company, and any other matters that are coming up before the company's shareholders. And you should be allowed to vote on that. You can say yes or no to vote with management or not. The management will give you their opinion, whether we support this, we don't support this, and then you can go along with management if you like. That should be all electronic. And you should have in theory, you might be given that documentation quite a bit before the annual meeting, so you can pre-vote from it's the proxy. That's what I'm trying to remember. The proxy is coming out, and the annual proxy, and this is where you're being offered the opportunity to vote your shares, what you want to go with or not go with. They will tally that all up electronically, and then they post the results. And at the end of the annual meeting, the results are revealed, and we continue on. It's almost always that management's wishes are usually followed by the shareholders. It's almost never. It's almost like never that it isn't. A lot of people don't bother with them because they feel that it's a done deal. It's a fait accompli. There's nothing to get excited about. Stephen, thank you for becoming a member. We've been talking about college food and a few other things. Thank you for being here. Nice to have you joining us today. The proxy statement, that is correct. Thank you, Wally's World. That's exactly right. The proxy statement. Anyway, so you'll be able to do it electronically. In theory, you can always go to your app or to your brokerage provider, whoever you're using as your brokerage firm, whoever you're trading with, and you can then go into your settings, probably with them, and in there might be a section where there's a question asked of you that you can answer or not answer regarding annual meeting and proxies and voting your shares for info, and or whether you do or do not want to receive this information via email or not. It might be automatically sent to you whether you want it or not. Anyway, on the other hand, you might have to actually request it. So look into that and check into it, or look into the frequently asked questions for that info and see what they tell you. TD customers must have a cash account. Let's see here. We're back to 186.32. We are. That's where the stock is right now. 186.32. We're back there. Anyway, there's a brief description of that, and see how that goes. We be noodles. What did you and Markiplier talk about, by the way? We had a good chat. I asked him a lot of questions about being a YouTuber and how long he had been a YouTuber and the changes that he had seen over the years. We compared notes about, he being a big YouTuber and me being a smaller YouTuber. We had a really good chat about that. We shared our stories a little bit about our past and, how we've gotten to where we are and that kind of thing. And I told him about some of the issues I'm having as a current day YouTuber and what challenges I'm faced with being live twice a day, 5 hours a day, and having a second channel and doing work there. And so we talked about that kind of stuff. And he gave me some good contacts to follow up on, which is fantastic. So we've been working on that. And then he asked me a bunch of stock questions, and I said, ask away, whatever you want to know. I'll try to help you out. So we had a real nice chat there, because I was thinking if I got a half an hour of his time, it would cost me $5,000, and he got a half hour of my time, and it's not $5,000. And so we each got a half an hour of each other's time, and I think I won. He's happy, I'm happy, and I think we'll be talking again. So I'm very much looking forward to meeting with him another time or chatting with him another time. Could it be that someday one of us or the other of us somehow ends up on our channel somehow? I don't know. I don't know if that would ever happen or not. I'm not sure if there's any synergy with that, but there's synergy with regard to the experience of being YouTubers. We are of a unique crowd, and we have a unique life that we live, and we can relate to it. Even I, as a small YouTuber, and he as a gigantic YouTuber, there's a lot of similarities that we go through, and it is most interesting doing this. It was a wonderful chat. It was really great. The stock is on the short restricted list today. That's right. GameStop is on the short restricted list. That is true. Wolfgang Bruce, I went to college after the military. I ain't decent. And in university again, now with the GI Bill this time, being paid to attend, I have FOMO when hearing your guys' stories of college, fond memories. Yes, I remember I had to pay for everything when I went to school. I was not paid to go. And there were guys there at school that I would see, and these guys were apprentices. They were going to be electricians and plumbers, air conditioning technicians, refrigeration guys, guys handling an entire building's air conditioning system for a skyscraper. These kinds of guys, building operators, and so these guys were part of a union. They were in an apprenticeship program that might be a 3-year, 5-year, 8-year, 10-year, whatever the distance, the length of it was. Some of them were going to school to upgrade their skills, and were being paid to attend. And then there was me, who had to pay for everything for scratch. So I would be at breakfast time at the cafeteria, getting in line, and you're behind a couple of these apprentice guys who are only around for like 4 weeks at a time, 6 weeks at a time, and then they go back to work. And they're going to work for 6-8 weeks, and then they come back to school for 6-8 weeks, and then they go back to whatever. And some of them were commuting in their own cars. Others, would live in the area for a few weeks at a time. Anyway, I'm watching these guys having breakfast, and I had enough money every morning. I had 50 cents to buy myself a toasted bacon and egg sandwich, and they were delicious. They were just, I craved them at the age I was at. And I'm watching these guys, and they come up to the buffet area there, and they got their plate, and they're buying scrambled eggs, and then they're having waffles and sausages and bacon and fruit and coffee and orange juice, and just they're taking all they want, all you want, eat all you want. And go to the cash register, and they would pay, $4.28 or whatever the heck it was back in 1974, 75. And it was my turn. I'd come up with my sandwich, 50 cents, and I got my 2 quarters. And I'd sit down, and I'd be eating my sandwich, and every little crumb from that toast, any little egg left over, any little piece of bacon, it was gone. That little piece of cellophane plastic it came in, there was nothing on it. These guys only ate half their breakfast and would throw the other half away. And I would just be going, oh my God. I wish I had enough money every morning to spend this kind of money on breakfast. Then come lunchtime, I would spend maybe $1 at lunchtime in those days for whatever it was. And these guys, they'd buy a piece of pie or a piece of cake, and then they would have the meal of the day and buy a bag of chips and buy a bottle of cola or soda or whatever. They would spend $4. I'm spending 99 cents. And that was 3 years of that. 3 years you paid the price to get through it. Although last year I got lucky because Jen and I met, and I'd been working now as a musician on weekends, and I've been fixing clocks now. So my last year of school, I had more money than my first year of school. Still had to pay my own way. But in the last full year of school, I commuted every day to Toronto and back from Kitchener, Ontario, to go to school. And so I didn't have to eat the cafeteria food full time and or buy food at the grocery store to last for the week, because Jen and I bought our own groceries together. She had a full-time job. I was making money. And so we were eating quite well. And Wednesday nights would be a visit to my mom and dad's house for a bite to eat. And then on Sunday nights would be a dinner at my mom and dad's house, and the rest of the week Jen and I would eat just fine. I would just fine. But the last year was a good year. The first 2 years were the struggle, and Jen and I still eat just fine now, as evidenced by this 4'8" frame that this guy here is maintaining. It's all here. It's all there. No worries. What can I say? Thank you, everybody, for the going down memory lane with me. College food. Wow, that's how it all started. That's how it all began, right there. The food with Jennifer. It all started. What can I say? Thank you, everybody. I got to save lunch money to get into the oregano resale business. Anyway, thank you. We're at 187.87 on the GameStop shares. They're really not going anywhere. They're up 92 cents here. High of the day for GameStop today was $192. Volume right now is 3 million shares, and we are talking quiet here. AMC down 56 cents to 10.05. It's given up a lot of ground. It hit a high yesterday. It looks like the high yesterday got to 11.16 or something like that. and it's now at 10.06. So unfortunately for AMC shareholders, not a good day on only 18 million shares. It's just coming back off. It is what it is. The Dow is down 28 points. Nothing to worry about there. S&P is up 5. NASDAQ is up 46.9. Kind of a quiet day all around, but holding very good gains from yesterday, though. The market has not given anything back to any degree. Oil is up $1.96 to 60.57. A little surprised at a little strength there, but it is what it is. And we're watching to see if anything big is going on. It doesn't appear anything massive is happening. There does not seem to be any announcements at this point on GameStop that I can tell you about. I don't see anything here. So far kind of quiet on that front. And we're just kind of plugging along here. Not much to get all hyped up on. The stock I mentioned today a little bit was called this Mudrick Capital Company. They're merging with TOPPS collectors, TOPPS trading cards. That SPAC is up to 1103. In my opinion, I would avoid it at this point because this is going to take 3+ months to merge in, and between now and 3 months is a long time for these shares to come back into the $10 neighborhood and maybe bottom out. I want to see a lot more details on this offering. I want to know a lot about this deal before I even render an opinion on whether it's worth an acquisition or not. I like seeing SPACs that when they get announced, that they are really well funded with a pile of extra cash. I like very well funded brand new public companies, and the 7 SPACs that I've been talking to you guys about, they're sitting on $600+ million up to $1 billion+ of cash the minute they start trading as a new public company. And I like that kind of momentum right off the go, where I don't want to be sitting on sitting with a company that's barely got enough money to start things off with. I want it to make a big impact. Bruce, is there any way to calculate the time decay on options contracts? The simplest way to do it, it's actually really rudimentary. You grab a pen, you grab a piece of paper, and you head over to like marketwatch.com, or you enter into a Google search engine the stock you're following and their options. And you want to know how options depreciate over time. You can even go to the Chicago Board of CME, this is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange.com. You can go that on Google. You can look up the price of any contract of any stock's option through the Chicago Mercantile Exchange for free. And what you do is, let's say you're looking at GameStop, because we love talking about GameStop here, and you're thinking of either buying contracts in GameStop or you're thinking of writing contracts in GameStop. What you want to do is you want to take a look at, say, the stock's right now 187.13. Let's take a look at $190 call contracts. That's right at the money, right near the money. $190 call contracts. What you'll do is you will take a look at the contracts that die this Friday and that die next Friday and the Friday after that, and so on and so on. And with a piece of paper, or if you can do it on your computer, you might be able to find on Chicago, you might be able to draw up every $190 call contract and just see all of them, only them. And you can see the price of a $190 call contract for GameStop that expires this Friday, how much it's going for, bid and ask, last trade. You can also see next week's and the week after, and the week after, and the week after. And you'll begin to notice, that the prices are different. Even though it's the same strike price, same company, because they last longer, they're more valuable the longer they have to live. And you'll begin to see the difference between a 6-week contract and a 2-week contract and a 1-week contract, or a 15-week contract, any ones you want to compare. And that'll give you a handle and an idea of what the depreciation rate is regarding a contract the closer it gets to expiry. You can do the same thing with a $200 call, a $210, a $250, any one you want. So if you want to see how GameStop shares deteriorate in price and decay or as time comes down on an out of the money call, you can do that, or an in the money call. Look at a 150 contract if you want, and check it out. You'll be able to see as you look through each one, you'll begin to understand the depreciation that these contracts begin to suffer as they get closer to expiry dates. And that is a way to figure out the answer to this question. Is there a way to calculate time decay on options? Now, when I talk about GameStop, I am talking about a company whose shares you have seen yourselves move $20 a day, $30 a day per share. You have seen movement of stock prices that are gigantic. And because GameStop is a very volatile stock, it can go up 20 bucks in a day, it can go down 20 bucks in a day, it could do both in a day. That means the premiums on options associated with GameStop are very high. And you'll be surprised as you do some research here. Take a look at, say, okay, got GameStop over there. Let me double check something over here. Take a look at, for example, IBM. You take a look at IBM shares, and they're trading at $134, $135 a share. Take a look at IBM shares that are $10 out of the money, maybe the 145s, and take a look at GameStop contracts, GameStops that are $10 out of the money, like 195s. Compare the two of them for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, all the way down, and check out the difference you have to pay in premium pricing to buy a GameStop contract versus an IBM contract. You'll be shocked at how different it is. Look at Apple, another one, Apple stock. Do the same thing, $10 out of the money Apple stock compared to a $10 out of the money GameStop stock option. Take a look at these call option premiums and look forward the next, say, 10 weeks on these or 15 weeks and just check it out yourself. Now you'll begin to understand, oh, wow, the volatility of a stock really affects the value and trading value of a call contract. If a stock can do this in one day, $10, $20, $30 moves, your contract can move as well. And there are a lot of day traders that love to buy GameStop at the low of the day and sell higher if they can, or write a put when the stock reaches a high level, write a call, I mean, when the stock has a good run, and watch the call value depreciate as the stock goes down. Same thing is on Apple and IBM and every other stock. But those two stocks, those Apples and IBMs, they're not as volatile as GameStop is. And this is what you want to educate yourself on, but doing some Google work, some searching, maybe through the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. The CME might be the way you want to tackle it and take a look at that. Anyway, there's. I hope that answers your question. I hope you like that. Fantastic. Let's see here. Wolfgang, Jeff, yeah, it's nice that we can sell options, sure, but we still have to make the contract. And, well, that stops silly options from being created, I guess. Nikki is saying King Kong wants GameStop to trade sideways right now. When will the IPOE be done? It should be done between now and 10 days from now. Could be tomorrow morning. Could be the end of the week. Tuesday morning. It's imminent. I'm just waiting for it to happen. Jay Ray says, thanks, Bruce. Thank you. Let's see. What else is being asked of here? People mentioning comments. I have 3 SPACs. I've got VGAC, BWX, and MUDS. Right on. Option premium too high for me. Yes, it's too high if you're looking to buy the contract, but it's nice and high if you're a writer. If you're a seller of a contract, let's say it dies this Friday or next Friday, and you're a contract writer of GameStop, you can take advantage of this high volatility and very high premiums to perhaps bring in some nice income for a week, week and a half. But you're offering your stock up for sale, potentially at a set price that you may or may not be happy about if it goes higher. But then again, a profit is a profit is a profit. You have to decide for yourself, what kind of volatility do you want to be part of? What kind of income would you like to receive? What kind of risk you're prepared to take? And that's how this market works. Welcome, everybody, to this show. I think we're just about done here. We're getting towards the end of the day. GameStop, 187.71 on a very quiet day right now. 3 odd million shares. It's what it is. The Dow is down 43 points. S&P is up 5. NASDAQ is up 49. Not a lot to get excited about today. Thank you, all of you who are reaching out to me, sending me private messages on my email and looking for one-on-ones as well. Thank you for that. We'll try to get to you. 1,700 thumbs ups. Thank you for the 1,700 thumbs ups, everybody. Appreciate this very much. If you're able to give us a thumbs ups before we shut down today, that would be terrific. Help us reach the 2,000 level, perhaps. And we have only got 94 thumbs downs today, so we're about 20 to 1. If we can reach 2,000 thumbs ups, we'll get it to 20 to 1. That would be beautiful. Keep it at 20 to 1. I thank you. Every little bit helps. The more people that find out about this channel, the more that will follow the GameStop story that we're following, and hopefully they'll like what they see. There's 1,800 thumbs ups right now. Just coming in. Thank you, everybody, for popping in there. I appreciate it very much. Those of you who become members today, thank you, and welcome to the club. You've joined a club that is getting stronger every day, and I'm so glad you're part of it. And I appreciate that you're following us here, and keep your eyes open for alerts. I will bring up alerts from time to time. I just put up some new emojis last night. There's about 5 new emojis that we've added now. There are 22 emojis that you can now use on this channel. So if you're interested in throwing up some emojis, we don't just have knee emojis anymore. We got a whole bunch of them, and we have more coming. We are constructing more to give you all kinds of emojis to play with, and you can use them on these comments here, and you can also use the emojis if you're making a comment on my channel after I go off the air or on any video that I am producing. So thank you, all of you, so much for doing it. There they are right there. Ferdigan's got them. There they are right there. A whole 5 of them right there just popped up. And I think I did a replacement of one of them. The one with the sunglasses, we've upgraded that emoji. From time to time, you'll see the emojis change a little bit and get modified. We're trying to beef them up and have them a little more presentable and a little more recognizable. And so just bear with us as we work the emoji thing and build up the following. I appreciate that you're enjoying them. I hope you are. And I thank you for becoming members of this channel. It's absolutely beautiful. Rock on shades. All kinds of neat logos are popping up. There's the new shades. Yeah, that sly little smile there. I like it. The buzzer. Where's the buzzer? Here we go. We got the buzzer. Thank you, everybody. Fantastic. All 1,900 thumbs ups. Thank you, guys, for hitting the 1,900, getting us over to up to the 2,000 mark. We're just about there. That is beautiful. I thank you so much. I will see you this afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern time as we get ready for the final hour of trading on the markets. We'll see what they're all doing for us or with us or what have you. And hopefully we'll have an update continuing on. And if any news breaks on GameStop, you know I'll be all over it. We'll keep an eye on that. And, of course, on the SPACs, we'll keep an eye on the SPACs as well. And we should be very busy the next few weeks coming up as these SPACs convert into their own public companies. And we'll be following all the developments of all those, because I know a bunch of you have shares in the SPACs. You're just patiently waiting it out, like I've asked you to, until the mergers are complete, and then all heck could break loose, and we will follow that. We will be busy, kids. This is the calm before the storm. So rest up, kids. It's going to get a little bit hectic coming up here. We are going to be busy following a lot of movement in our favorite stocks that we're watching here. And I thank you for being a big part of my channel. It's nice of you to come by, spend some good time with me. Thank you for the kind words that you spread to Jennifer and I. We do appreciate it very much. And as I say, we're excited about what's coming up. Should be pretty good. All right, there you have it. Thank you again for being here today. I'll see you at 3 o'clock Eastern time for the final 1 hour of trading and 1 hour aftermarket. And let's see what this market wants to throw at us between now and then, and let's deal with it. Make money, stay healthy in the meantime, and we'll catch you today at 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.